Hey, how's it going? Let's hear it for that Ultima 8 run. That was fantastic. You gotta love those old school Ultima games. Played a few of those myself. This is Ferric Fox with my partner in crime, moonblazewolf.
Hey, I'm doing commentary for the first half of the run.
This is a co-op run of Chained Echoes, which is kind of an homage, if you have it, to old JRPGs. This was actually released last year in 2022 and is a fantastic 16-bit style game. Game runs at about 3 hours and 45 minutes, so you should sit back and get comfortable. We're actually doing it co-op, so we'll be splitting the run pretty much down the middle. I'm Ferric Fox. I'll be playing the first half, and then we're going to do a controller switch / try to knock things over in this small room to
Yes.
get Blaze into the driver's chair to finish it out. So
This is co-op in every way you can
yeah, it's
visualize.
it's as co-op as you can imagine it. So we did set some options before starting. I can quickly show those off. These are just basically the options that you set to make things go faster, and then we're going to get started here.
Yep.
And for a countdown, we'll give you a 5-second countdown, and we'll get going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, good luck, Ferric.
Thank you. Good luck, Blaze. So if you kind of want to walk people through just the first little bit of this as I sort of navigate.
Yeah, so, I mean, there is a lot going on. For a glitchless run, we are doing the glitchless category tonight, but there is a ton of tech that we'll be talking about and pointing out as we go through things. The first thing, just kind of introductions to the characters. We've got Glenn and Killian in this first sort of prelude section. And we have one of the signature modes of, or style items, I guess you might say, about Chained Echoes, which is the Sky Armor. And we're going to start off here with some Sky Armor combat. So Ferric is going to kind of make quick work of these. We get a little bit of a taste of the Sky Armor combat. And now we are back to just kind of running around on the ground on our normal 2 legs, which is a little bit boring. But at least for Act 1, we will be mostly doing this kind of combat. It is turn-based combat. You can see in the top right there is a tracker for who is getting the next turns, and we pay a lot of attention to that in this run because a lot of what we do is very much dependent on who's going to be going before the enemy or the boss and the order that things are happening in. So we'll definitely be referencing that as the game goes on. There's other things about the combat too. We'll get to those as we go through the prologues because the game does kind of layer them on. So for now, that's kind of our little introduction to basic combat and Sky Armor combat.
Yeah, so we got our 2 buds running along the top of the battlement here. This is Glenn and Killian. This game does have cutscene skips. If you look in the bottom left corner when there's a cutscene, you'll see a little circle that kind of goes by. Just focus on this for a moment. So yeah, so most of the cutscenes are skippable. Some of them are not. So you'll kind of see them start, and then we'll kind of zip past them.
Yep. There's also some cool tech in this run that you might notice every once in a while. Ferric actually did one immediately when we started the run. There are certain sequences where you can continue to hold down the cutscene skip button during a play segment, and you can actually insta-skip the second cutscene that you would normally have to wait or cycle through. And we in the community call those cutscene skips. So those are kind of fun.
And then this is turbo enabled, so when you see things going by really fast, it's because I'm using the turbo button.
Yep, we do allow for a turbo button in this run. We also have a new part of the battle system that was introduced in that last battle, but you will see it in every battle from now on, and that is the overdrive meter. It is in the top left. Basically, you want to just stay in the green. You want to be in the green for as much of the fight as you can be, because in the green, your attacks deal more damage and they cost less, and there's no penalty. When you get into the red, your skills cost double and you take extra damage. And when you're starting fights and when you're in like the yellow, things are fairly normal, but you deal less damage. So you really want to be in the green.
So that's our first boss, and as you can see the little platypus down there, platypus means we're skipping cutscenes. Respect the platypus.
Yes, we always say respect the platypus in the Chained Echoes community, so...
That's because if you jump the platypus too early sometimes, you're going to have to watch the whole cutscene, and nobody wants to do that, so...
Yeah, or we found a couple very specific instances where weird things happened, which we also don't want, so...
Yes, yeah, weird things are usually bad. Like the platypus existing forever.
Yeah, this is an indie game, so there's a lot of fun, quirky stuff to it. One other thing I will just quickly mention that we didn't say in the outset is we are playing on a... even though it's a glitchless run, we are playing on a down-patched version. The reason for that is one of the more recent patches, the developers changed how the cutscene skipping works. It's probably a little bit more intuitive for casual players and makes it a little safer for them to play the game without crashing, but for us as speedrunners, it really does kind of slow us down. So we just prefer to play on an older patch, mainly for the ability to skip cutscenes before we actually like run into the cutscene triggers. Very nicely done there by Ferric. So that was
Huggy the wall.
Yeah, so the combat in this game, there's no random encounters. All of the enemies that you would fight are on the world map. Usually you can see them. Sometimes they kind of pop out and scare you. That skip that Ferric just did, sneaking around those enemies to get into the cave, is actually, in my opinion, the hardest skip in the entire game. So good job getting that first try.
Well, now I'll have to make all the other skips in the game.
No, you don't. But that one is very finicky for whatever reason.
Finicky,
so
I agree.
And it's like 4 minutes into the run, so... Yep. But this is our second prologue, so we're kind of getting introduced to the cast of characters. This is Len and Rob. Len is the princess of one of the kingdoms in this world, and Rob is kind of like a spoiled brat who tags along with her, who's also kind of a noble. And Ferric just did, so we talked about, we're kind of layering on the different aspects of the combat here. Ferric just did the first ultra move of the run, which is kind of, everybody has a unique special ability. Think of them as limit breaks.
Yeah, you basically build up your ultra over time, and then you can execute it with any of the active characters.
Yep. And one interesting thing about this game is you actually get a free ultra move meter in all of the boss fights in the game. So a lot of our combat strategies will hinge on the most effective deployment of that ultra move. Although, interestingly, for this particular boss, we generally do not use it. For as good as a lot of the ultras are, some of the characters have ultras that are more or less useless. And they do tend to be a little bit longer in terms of how long they take to go through the animation and stuff like that. So if we're going to use one, we definitely want to make sure that we are getting our money's worth for it.
Yeah, and even these special attacks relative to your basic attacks, the animation does take longer. So there's some specials that take a little bit less time. And in a 3.5-hour run, you have to kind of take that stuff into consideration.
Yeah, generally speaking, if all you care about is how fast you're doing something, a basic attack is the way to go. But most of the special abilities in this game are good at what they do, so more often than not, we will be using characters for their special abilities.
So now we've got another character. This is our bard, Victor, and actually that red-headed girl in glasses is actually going to be in our party as well.
Yeah, this game has a lot of throwbacks to old school RPGs. This section right here is very much a callback to the Millennial Fair in Chrono Trigger. Except in this version, you get to play the games, and then whenever you're kind of satisfied and want to cash in and head off with some actually very nice items that if you kind of read all of them, they're like all throwbacks to like the most powerful items in a lot of games. But what actually happens is Sienna steals all your money.
So, this is Sienna right here. So,
because Sienna.
Yeah, Sienna's kind of like our rogue slash... She's kind of like a ninja, too. She has lots of really high point damage, which is very nice in the first part of the game.
Yep. So I just want to mention that the item that we just got through that particular cutscene, because the point of what we're doing right now is Sienna's just running around town robbing people. But one of the items we got is a sacred water. Sacred waters are used in Chained Echoes to unlock class emblems. which are basically like powerful accessories that grant additional stat ups as well as abilities. Nice job. This game has global timers for most of this kind of stuff, and you want to make them.
Yeah, that one cycles pretty fast, but there's other ones that do not.
Yep. And there are some that you absolutely can't make, and they are trolly.
I think I got a thin hide there. That's good.
That is good. Yeah, there's a couple drops we'll be tracking early on because we do want to upgrade some things. And thin hide is one of those items. Cool. I wanted to let Ferric be able to focus on his menu there. So that was our first instance of the leveling system in this game. So most bosses in this game, as well as something we'll see a little bit later called the reward board, will give you access to grimoire shards. Grimoire shards are what you use to increase your stats or learn new abilities and essentially progress. You also got a tin ore. Nice job.
Oh, good.
So you got one of each. Tin ore is another item that we're tracking right now. And we're up on another boss fight. But yeah, grimoire shards are how you level up. So we're gonna be using those. We got another boss fight here against the Kratchan. Think Kraken, but it's got pretty eyelashes, so Chan instead of your usual way to...
I don't know how I one-cycled that. That was a miracle. Because I don't normally do it that way. But I'll take it. That's about the fastest you can kill that guy, so...
Yep. A lot of the boss fights in this game have kind of like ideal ways that they can go, and then there's everything else. And usually everything else is what happens, but sometimes you will get lucky with the way that the turn order falls and things like that. So, boy, this run goes really hard. It goes really quickly. So we're already in another part of the prologue. We're back on Victor. Ferric is going to be talking to the guests at the party here and picking specific answers. To me, as an old school RPG player, this feels like a throwback to Final Fantasy VI and the Emperor's Feast. And thankfully, because Ferric knew the answers, you're supposed to run around and talk to people so you can figure out what you're supposed to say.
Answers are always the same.
But they're always the same, so we just knew. And we got an accessory called the Life Thread, which is going to be one of the ones that we actually want to use in the speedrun. It gives a plus 15% chance to critical.
Yep, so it kind of just makes your characters better. It's not a required item. But if you don't get it, then you're kind of just out of luck.
Yep.
Because I don't think there's another spot to get it. It's easily accessible.
Yeah, we've really, really worked on the routing of this run. There's a few other folks in the community, but Ferric and I are two of the most active runners, I would say. And we've really tried to optimize, especially the early part of the game, I would say. All right. Very much just trying to let Ferric focus on the menuing, because the menuing sequences in this game are honestly probably the most intensive out of...
I love menuing.
Other things, you know, we're RPG fans.
That's
here.
why I'm playing
we
Star
all love a
Ocean
good
now.
menu.
Star Ocean has even more menuing than this game, so...
Yep.
Oh, she's staggered. Maybe you can explain stagger.
Yeah, there's certain enemies in this game, so again, more like tutorial type stuff, and this game does a really good job of sort of teaching through experience. So these are the first enemies that you find that do staggering, and you'll notice that in the bottom right now, we have 6 characters. Everybody's in the party, and there's a couple characters that have a character behind them. So like Len has Rob, and Sienna has Victor. So There are certain enemies in the game that will do an ability called stagger. Basically, it stuns the character in front. And the point of staggering, or the way you get rid of stagger, is you swap to the character in the back row. You will also not get a character staggered if there's not a character behind them. So the game doesn't go too punishing with that. But it's kind of, in my guess is it's a mechanic that's sort of there to gently encourage you to, like, hey, swap your party members, you know? Try using some different people.
It kind of forces you, yeah.
Yep. So, pretty neat.
But yeah, for the beginning stuff with stagger, you kind of just ignore it because this stuff is so weak. There's not a lot of downside to being staggered.
Yep.
So Sienna got staggered. I'm not going to swap anybody in. We'll just let her skip her turn.
Yeah.
Because this should do... Yeah, that finished them all off. So it really didn't matter.
Yeah, if you're gonna do anything, we talked about basic attacks before, defending is also a very easy way to cycle through turns. So a lot of times, if we don't really have anything to do with a particular character in combat, we will just defend. And we're up on another boss fight. You'll notice that bosses in this game, a lot of enemies in this game, not all of them, but for the most part, have some sort of elemental weakness. This boss is very fire-focused, as you can tell, so Ferric is using an ability with Len called Water Attack, or Water Thrust, actually, and you can see that it's saying Vulnerable, and you get extra damage with that, so... it's definitely...
Because I did get Petal Storm, so that was pretty amazing.
You got Petal Storm, and you got Sienna's Ultra, which is nice, so...
Oh dear. I did not respect the platypus. Enjoy a cutscene.
Okay.
I think I held it down through both of them on accident.
Okay. Normally we're able to skip this cutscene, but again, if you don't respect the platypus, sometimes stuff like this happens, so we'll just kind of turbo through this little cutscene here.
Yeah, I don't know how long this one is.
I don't either. I haven't seen this one in a
I've
really
never seen
long
this
time.
one.
There, now it's
there. Let me skip that one.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
Okay. Yeah, there's not too many
This
bad...
could be long. It could be short. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Oops. So maybe you can explain escaping a little bit?
Yeah, so it's actually some pretty cool tech there. We mentioned earlier there are no random encounters in this game, but that one was kind of like a surprise attack where you couldn't see the enemies. But it's not avoidable, but the game will put you on a certain side depending on how you enter the combat. So for that fight, Ferric made sure to enter the combat from the backside and then was able to escape. And then the game places you on the side where you can just continue to progress. So you effectively skip the fight, although it does pull you into it. There's no real way around that, but hey, it's the best we can do.
All right, and on to some tutorials. Everybody sing the tutorial song.
More tutorials, yep.
Tutorials.
So now we are back in Farnsport. We have escaped from the banquet that presumably got attacked by a monster, and everybody is fine now, I'm sure. Nothing bad happened. But yeah, we're back in town, and the game is just, again, continuing to teach us about itself. So this is a tutorial for the smithing system, and we're also learning about crystals. So Ferric is going to go ahead and do a sort of tutorial upgrade here to upgrade a weapon and then slot a crystal into it. The interesting thing about this one is, for whatever reason, if you go too quickly, the game will not give you the crystals when you go into that backyard. So if you noticed Ferric waiting before he went into the house, he's actually waiting for the anvil to shimmer because we have figured out that that is the all clear sign, basically.
I did a classic waits patiently. And then maybe you can explain just a little bit about gems and how we use those.
We don't.
Exactly.
But there is a pretty comprehensive... So specifically the gems that came out of the crystal in that backyard we don't use. But we do care quite a bit about the collectible system, which is what Ferric was interacting there with the loot and deals tutorial. So as we are going through the world, you may have noticed some. They're kind of like orange baubles that are on the ground, orbs, if you will. And those are random collectibles. And depending on what collectibles you get, when you sell them, you will be able to unlock deals from the merchants. So those are pretty important early on to the speedrun. We're definitely going to be hoping for certain collectibles, not only just to get more money, but also to get specific deals.
Yep, we'll be hitting the reward board in about 15 minutes, so we can kind of show you that a little bit then.
We did just get access to it, though.
Yeah, we want to hit it at there's one right there. We want to hit it at very specific times in the run because it takes a lot of time to kind of menu through it. So there's just a couple times that we actually access it.
Yep. Yeah, and we're getting a few more tutorials here. One is about big scary monsters like Tack the Yak, our friend Tack the Yak. That one was about hidden items. There's kind of like these compass points on the ground. And then there's caves. Kind of you can break into with only the power of your face, presumably. We do care about these things pretty early on because they help keep us on track for things like money and other things that we need. We're also just going to randomly fight this house. I don't know.
It's just a mill. It's just a windmill.
There's a lot in this game. It's really going to be hard to keep up, frankly.
Just one house. There's no other houses that we fight. That's the only house.
Yeah, that one was a mimic, and we kill it because we get that weapon upgrade for Victor, but also the reward board, which we'll get to in a little bit. We're collecting entries on the reward board, and there's one for defeating a mimic that actually gives you a ton of SP. So it's definitely worth our while to stop by and hit it once with our sword.
Hit.
Yeah, I think this might be a good time to mention while we're jumping. We're kind of jumping across some platforms here. The movement in this run, the movement in this game is just... It's unlike any other game I've really ever played as an RPG, to be honest. It moves so fluidly. It is such a fun...
I mean, to me, it's like almost like playing like a racing game. Like, it goes so fast. And the other thing about the movement is it's sticky movement. So, like, if I run into a wall or an obstacle, it will slow me down. So you are incentivized to actually have very crisp movement, because if you don't just slide off things. It will just slow your character down.
Yep. And it's full 360-degree movement as well. So, you know, you have a lot of options in terms of how you get to things. And good movement in this game is so satisfying. And for Peric and I, who have been running this game in this category I've been running this game basically since it came out about a little less than a year ago. Ferric has been running it for quite a while now as well. But I think we can both agree that the movement is definitely the most satisfying part of the run, and it's also the way that you get better. As you get better with your movement and your menuing, I would say those are like the two main things. They really, really pay off. But yeah, we're just kind of running through this first area right now. We're doing a lot of things. This is all very deliberate, whether it is hitting a checkpoint,
those are fast
opening
travel,
a cave. Yeah, those are fast travel crystals. Those will be important as well later on. And by later on, I mean probably like a minute or two from now. But yeah, it's really, really hard to keep up with this part of the run because it just looks like we're doing all this random stuff.
I can barely keep up with myself right now, so I'm just going to say that. I'm going to go on the record and say that.
Yeah. I guess what I would say, just to sort of summarize, is we are gathering items and we are filling up the reward board. Because there are the first two rewards on the reward board are the ones that we care about early on in the run. We can get a second Sacred Water, and we can get another Grimoire Shard, which I mentioned those earlier. That's the game's leveling system, so we are effectively getting a free level by doing all of these seemingly random things. Wow. Oh my goodness.
Wow. Somebody went to town. Yikes. Okay.
Killian, please.
I'll take it. Killian showing off for the crowd, I guess. Okay.
Yep. And we are now on our first shrine. So we were talking about those sacred waters.
Hello, Slors.
This is Ferric's favorite enemy in the game.
I love the Slors. The Slors are the best.
Yep. And this is our first shrine fight. So shrine fights are basically like challenge encounters generally with the toughest enemies that you would find in a particular region, so the Slors. And if you can pass the test, you get the emblem. And this is for the warrior emblem, which is going to be...
Oh, we'll pass the test.
Yeah. I mean, it's really the best emblem in the game for what we're doing from beginning to end, so... Yeah, Ferric is just finishing off the Slors here. Conveniently enough, we get another reward board entry. And we got our warrior emblem, so good job. And those basically go on as equipment, like you're seeing here, so... And again, more random tasks, but we mentioned there's a... we need to get a Grimoire Shard. We routed things so that we get the warrior emblem first, and now we're going to go do the last sort of seemingly random thing so that we can complete the chain on the reward board and get the get that extra Grimoire Shard. Ferric, you are getting a lot of sparkle enemies. Do you want to kind of talk about the sparkle enemies?
That is good. You can talk about the sparkle enemies. This is taking so much focus right now.
This part really does require a lot of focus.
It's just
and
like it's like
job.
nonstop right now. So.
Oh yeah, no, you're doing good. So you will see as you play the game, and this is pretty much random, I believe. My understanding is it's 5% chance, and I think there's you can only get a certain number like per formation. There's the reward board. We're going to do this in a really specific order, so I'm going to let Ferric focus, and then I'll get back to talking about sparkle enemies. There's no takebacks on the skill sheet. Cool. And you'll also notice, I think that was the harder part, so I think you'll also notice that when you hit certain Grimoire Shards, you get this like big list of stats that you get as well. And one of those is related to that particular level that we just got. Looks good. Doing some upgrades here on some of our starter weapons. So for Rob and Killian, and I believe we will also do a one or two level ups on Len's weapon.
2 level ups.
Looks like we're going to be able to do 2.
Because I found that rock.
Yeah, Ferric discovered a more consistent way to make sure we
I found an important rock that was hiding things.
Yeah. Again, we're just squeezing so much out of this early game. It's really hard to kind of just talk about all the little things that sort of go into this. So, but we're advancing this first quest, which is to kind of just get out of the starting area. So there's this guy in the village of Basil who says he can help. So he gave us a pass, which turned out to be a counterfeit. So now we're going to just sort of go and ask him what's up with that. I believe before I was talking about sparkle enemies, so they are just, again, they kind of get randomly put into the game. You are guaranteed to get better drops as well as more SP from sparkle enemies. So we want to see a good, healthy number of them, and they do sort of smooth out a lot of the... I don't want to call it RNG, but maybe just sort of like the stuff like the upgrades and things like that, so...
Wow.
We're getting a lot of...
Wow, can I just have this for, like, my PB? This is some good RNG right now.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of utility out of those upgraded weapons. And again, we really did try to sequence things in the way that we did so that we can get those upgraded weapons and that we can also get them before we have to do a lot of these trickier fights, so... Alright, so this is kind of like the boss fight for that quest. We are fighting essentially a gang of thieves. They're called Becker's Boys. We are going to make short work of them with our party, so...
Maybe really short work is the way things are going right now. Oh my gosh.
Killian is having a night.
This is crazy. We're just like one cycling like everything.
Yeah. So now we're just kind of running to the next area. This is kind of like going to be kind of like the first real dungeon of the game. It's called the Purple Flame Temple. And there will be some stuff going on there that'll be sort of interesting to talk about.
The other thing that's fun that you're kind of not seeing behind the scenes is that we do things, Blaze and I do things a little bit differently in this game, so he actually gets to see kind of how I do things.
I think that for the most part, we are on the same page.
Fair
but
enough. Oh, I didn't get it. That's too bad.
This is tricky.
I mean, you can always just take one down.
Yep. We're looking for a specific drop here, I believe.
Okay. I'll have to steal it.
Okay, yeah.
Pilfering.
I didn't know if you got that.
So. Pilfering. Pilfering sounds much nicer than stealing.
Yeah, we're not thieves, we're pilferers.
We're pilferers.
Treasure hunting.
Yes, we're treasure hunting.
Yeah. So there is a particular item that we want to get for upgrade at the end of this dungeon. Unfortunately, there's no anvil in the early part, but we'll be able to get it from one of these enemies, usually. And the other...
Thank you very much.
The thick hide there. Yep. So these ghosts have kind of an interesting mechanic. If you attack them with physical, then they will become immune to physical damage. If you attack them with magic, they become immune to magical damage. At this point, our physical attacks are stronger, so we ideally want to attack them with magic first, although Glenn will usually be able to just kind of either defeat them or knock them down to the point where any kind of magic attack will finish them off. So you have to kind of pay attention in those fights and just make sure that you aren't doing attacks that are not going to deal any damage. And you'll also notice stuff like right there, Sienna typically gets to go first, so just wait it on and defend it until we can come back around to Len and have Len do a magic attack.
Yeah, the ghost mechanic's really cool. You just get to do these 3 fights and then there's no more ghosts, but maybe not in the speedrun, maybe in the vanilla game there's more ghosts that you can fight. Because I think that's a really neat mechanic. It does require you to kind of plan things out.
And I do really like in-battle mechanics and stuff like this because, again, it really encourages you to use different abilities and try out new things. I think it was a very deliberate thing that the developer probably put into this game with the intention of getting you to use different party members or different abilities that you might normally not be using at this point.
Okay, so we're going to flip a switch, and then we're going to go off to the boss fight. I've never jumped down that ledge without hitting that switch before. Of course, I've never done that.
I've definitely never done that
Definitely
either.
never jumped down there with not hitting that switch and had to go all the way through again. That would never happen.
We're actually playing, I noticed in chat, we were talking about the version. We're actually playing on version 1.2. Just as a quick mention, everything we're doing in this run, with the exception of maybe a few of the cutscene skips, can be done on the current patch as well. It's just the cutscene skip timing is going to be a little bit different because of changes that have been made to the game through updates. But I promise you, we are not going to be doing anything that is truly a glitch. The decision in the community as far as how to handle glitchless is anything related to cutscene skipping is okay, because there have, at different points throughout this game's lifespan, it has been known that certain bosses, for example, can be skipped if you time the cutscene skipping just right, or just so. So, since that is a mechanic that is part of the game, you're not doing anything out of order or out of line by cutscene skipping in very strategic ways, I guess I would say.
So this guy just has a couple different phases. As he hits certain hit point levels, he goes through 4 different phases. So this would be the last phase right here. We're kind of just mopping him up right now.
Yeah.
Did a couple character swaps, and now we're just putting the damage on. He has a poison status effect on him, so he's taking a little bit of extra damage each turn.
Yeah, nicely done on that fight. This is one of the first... I would say this is, if you're playing the game casually, this is probably the first really hard boss fight that you'll run into.
I would agree.
The orb enemies, we also just completely avoid in the speedrun, because if you defeat them when he goes through one of those phase changes, he resummons them, and that just slows everything down. So we just kind of put up with them. And we just did a quick upgrade of Glenn's weapon with that one thick hide that we stole, because that little bit of damage it'll make a difference in certain fights.
All right, new zone. This is Cortara.
Yep. This is an area where one of the things that we will be doing is we will be looking for certain collectibles so that we can get some upgrades later. For every zone in the game, I believe there are 10 unique collectibles.
And certainly not another boss fight. We just had a boss fight. It's like, it's going to be at least 5 minutes, right?
No, you're going to have another boss fight immediately. You also already got 3 of the 5 collectibles that you need,
can keep track for
nice.
me. Co-op mode, you can keep track.
We're helping. So this is Row. Again, this game is so much fun to speedrun. I can't say enough good things about it. The pace of the run is just really, really neat, and yeah, it's cool to still already be in another boss fight. So there's going to be a lot of similarities to some of these fights. Row is weak to water, so we're going to be using Len. We're going to be using our strongest attacks with everybody else. What Row does that Row just did is he uses a counter stance. When he does counter stance, we just leave him alone because he has a really nasty response. And now we're back, and Sienna is going to try to get a nice fat crit here. No, unfortunately.
It was not terribly fat, but it was damage. We'll call it damage.
Yeah.
Oops, that was fire on accident.
Early on, we're going to use Sienna's Ultra quite a bit because it has the potential. It can crit, and it can do the most single target damage out of any of the Ultras that we have access to.
So if you're feeling really brave right there, you can attack him through his second counter stance. But this is what's called marathon strats. So instead of having that be a problem, I'll just play it safe.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Got through it. I don't think that would have taken care of things. So
I don't think it would have either. my math was saying no. You have to kind of do some quick math in your head and decide if you think you can drop enough damage on him to finish him off before he does the counter stance attack, which takes forever and takes everybody down to 1 hit point. So
yeah, it's pretty nasty. So
how am I doing on collectibles?
You have 3 out of 5.
Rock.
You need a
rock is not one of them.
You need a 5. You definitely need a 5-leaf clover, and then I think you still need a
oily mango.
No, I think you might still need a
giving
newt.
wing.
You've got mantis, rat, and oily mango. I
just got the 5-finger giving wing.
That's not the item that you need. You need a 5-leaf clover.
Well, here's to hoping.
We're tracking this to a certain extent, but we have a lot of time to get them, and if we get to 10 out of 10 collectibles, we will know for sure that we've gotten the ones that we need. So, but this is another really cool part of this game's first act. I would say this game really starts out strong in so many ways, and we're doing another very throwbacky, cool thing that a lot of old school RPGs do, which is the party is split into 3 different groups, and they all have different ways that they have to go through this area to meet back up at the end and continue the quest. So think Final Fantasy VI and other games of that sort. So.
But yeah, we got a while till we have another boss fight, right?
Nope, here we go.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Did I mention we're skipping a lot of cutscenes? This game has just a lot of story that we're just going to basically ignore. And it's new enough that I'm, honestly, in a marathon setting especially, I'm pretty cool with that, because I don't want to spoil this game for anybody who hasn't had a chance to play it yet. So, one thing I will note there, again, just thinking about examples of how tightly routed this game is. Ferric opened a chest for some oil bombs before we got into this boss fight. Those are for the final boss of the run.
Yeah.
About 3 hours. About 3 hours from now.
Give or take.
Yep, but that's where we pick them up. I love that boss too. It reminds me of the beginning of Princess Mononoke,
The boar.
the demon boar. So pretty cool. All right, so that was Team 1, I guess, Len and Glenn. And now we've got Victor, Rob, and Killian. So we're going to, again, Ferric is going to do some skill ups. He's going to learn some really specific skills here that really do kind of fundamentally change a lot of how this game will play. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Although I think the way Ferric prefers to do his skill ups in this part now, I do as well. But we'll talk about it a little more after the mines.
We'll talk.
Yeah. It has to do with elemental debuffs and damage and how ridiculously powerful they are in this game. So one interesting thing we'll see here. So the cutscenes, there's kind of like some text cutscenes in this game in certain parts while you're running around in the world. And one of the interesting things that can happen is, and it seems to be on certain frames. I haven't quite figured out like the rhyme or reason to it yet. But if there's a cutscene playing, what?
Don't jinx it.
Well, no, you got through it. You were fine.
I did, but there's other ones, I think.
Yeah, but you've nailed them all so far.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, sometimes if you are in like a dialogue section and you get into a fight, the fight will just kind of like stop. And you have to escape, and then you can rejoin the fight and start it over. But that's actually a strategy that we use for a lot of different fights in this game. If they go wrong, is we'll just run away and start over. There's no penalty for doing so, and one of the really cool things about this game is that you start every combat with full HP and TP. You don't have to use like consumables or spells or healing items between fights. And we're fighting a giant eyeball here. This is our first of two minecart sequences. Again, nice little throwback to throw a dart at a dartboard of JRPGs, and you'll probably find a game that's got a really cool mine ride sequence. So
in a cart, yeah, exactly.
One of the cool things about the minecart fights in this game is you have to interact with the switches. There's actually a map that you have to follow, potentially, depending on how long the fights go. And if you go the wrong way at a particular junction, you can die. Yeah, there's a couple folks in the chat that are talking about the elemental debuffing and the way damage stacks in this game.
Extremely important.
We, again, we do some stuff in this run, even though that it's a glitchless run, that you will swear we broke the game. But really, it is just bending the game systems to our will. So we'll see lots and lots of examples of that as the run goes on. Yeah, Ferric is doing a nice job here, progressing through the random encounters in the mines. Nothing we can really do to avoid most of these, just have to clear them as quickly as possible.
Sometimes get a good initiative order, though, and then we can kind of just polish stuff off. If you get kind of a bad order, it takes a little bit longer, but that was pretty solid right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a goblin right there. What's he doing right there? That's your chance, Blaze.
There's a lot of side quests in this game. That goblin is protecting something else, but that is for another speedrun or another category, so nice job not accidentally attacking the panel too early.
It's the worst.
The game loves to trick you with that. This is our boss of the mine segment, the heavy drill breaker. Just such cool sprite design in this game. I just adore the art and music of this game. It's so good.
It should just be one more cycle, and then that's it.
Yep. In this particular one, in the first fight, we had to make sure we changed the direction before the first junction. In this fight, we have to make sure we change it before the second junction, or we will die.
It's usually, if you have a pretty good fight, that's about where he usually dies.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever gotten it before that.
It takes a very specific sequence of crits
Yeah.
to happen. It's very difficult and uncommon, but yeah. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Profondo. All right.
Good.
I have to say, from the commentator's perspective, just strictly for the ease of discussing what just happened, I'm so glad that you did those two things together.
What's that?
So Ferric just learned. Oh, there's your 5-leaf clover, by the way.
Basso Profondo.
Ferric just learned the first, I
Sounds like
guess
a
we
song
would call
from
it
the
combo
70s.
of the run. So on Victor, he learned Basso Profundo, which applies the dry status. And then on Rob, he learned a passive ability called Water Attack. And Water Attack is going to make it so that all of Rob's attacks from now on also deal water elemental damage. And Dry inflicts the weakness to water, which will make enemies take double damage from any water-based attack. So I think you can pretty much see where this is going. Ideally now, our order of operations for most fights is going to be charge with Rob, Basso Profundo with Victor, and then do some sort of strong physical attack to deal double damage, plus charge also gives an increased damage amount. I believe it starts out at 30%.
Yeah, what the charge allows you to do is it allows you to set everything up so that the next attack does massive amounts of damage.
Yeah, and it's
'Cause
very
you need
fast.
one turn to get all the buffs on, so that charging helps you get all the buffs on.
Yep.
Would anybody like any cracked eggs?
The eggs are annoying. You just want Killian to go first because he always will be able to one-shot them. And unfortunately, he went last, so... Alright, it is time for another boss fight. This is with Toma and the Bandit. It's a pretty straightforward, easy boss fight. The one interesting thing about this fight is at a certain point, Toma will throw out a bomb. The bomb is just there to kind of muck up the battlefield, and we have to wait for it to explode, unfortunately, so... Maybe he won't actually get... Oh, there it goes.
There's
Darn
the
it.
bomb.
Yeah, I think he always throws it on the second or third turn, so...
But watch, I can knock the bomb back. That's fun. Check this
You
out.
can.
Whack. There it goes.
Yep. But interestingly now, you will see if for some reason... Yeah, so now Toma's dead, and then...
But the bomb's not. But the bomb has to blow up for it
You have to
end.
wait, yeah. You have to wait for the bomb to have a turn
Yes.
before the fight ends, so...
The bomb gets its own turn.
Yep. All right, and now our last of the three paths. We're kind of going through the prompt very, very quickly there. But now we have Sienna.
Whack is ashy.
And yeah, the item that I will say, all credit to Ferric of figuring out how important that item is to this run, and that is the Wakizashi katana upgrade there.
Can't have a wacky run without a wakizashi.
So we always got it, but I don't think we appreciated just how good it is. And now it is so important to this part of the run that we will make sure that we... Well, I shouldn't say make sure, but ideally we get the materials to upgrade it multiple times. And we just use Sienna in combat all the time now, pretty much, so...
Yeah, she's so good.
Yep.
Oh, and shout out to the music in this game. If you guys like good good video game music, like the soundtrack to this game is so good.
Yeah.
Doot 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 doot.
And there's so much variety too. Like there's all of the sort of all of the tones are covered, all of the styles are covered. The music always feels appropriate to where you are and what you're doing, and it's just a really good soundtrack. So this part always, again, there's a lot of subtle throwbacks, sometimes maybe not so subtle throwbacks in this game. But it reminds me of the South Figaro sequence in Final Fantasy VI, because you are trying to figure out how to escape from this town that you're basically blockaded into. So Sienna's going to reach deep into her bag of tricks. We're going to get some help in a second here, and then we're going to steal some uniforms and sneak on out of town.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah. I think you might still be missing one of your items, but I'm not totally sure.
I gotta focus here.
Yep.
I'm not gonna think about what item I'm missing right now.
That is totally reasonable.
Okay. The Thraz. Just enough. Perfect. Okay.
Nice.
So I got the level up on crit damage up, which is always really good.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't get that if you don't get enough sparkle stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems like it would actually be pretty hard to get. So glad you got it. Bathraz, I will say, is...
Blaze is like, what are you doing?
Oh, no, you're fine. I'm not judging. We'll get there.
It's good. Yep.
I will just say for my part, Bathraz is my favorite character in the game. There's just a lot of really interesting
he's a great character.
Dynamics about Bathraz that I really like and appreciate.
Game.
That was an unintentional fight. No big deal.
Very strange.
Yep.
And let's do an intentional fight.
Bathraz is probably the strongest mage that we get access to in the run, and also has an ultra that deals really good single target damage. That
Maybe I can show it off. Maybe I can show it off.
Yeah.
All right, Bathraz, show us your big gun. That is a very large gun for a very small lizard.
I don't know where he keeps
How does
that
he
thing.
even hold that?
I don't know where they keep that thing.
I think he summons it, but still, it looks awfully heavy.
Mm-hmm.
There is some violence in this game, so be prepared for that if you're watching this run. And I don't really have a flashing screen warning, but there are spots where there's a little bit of flashiness. We'll try to warn you ahead of time for that.
Yeah. Mostly later in the run, I would say.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Yeah, so Bathraz leaves us for now, but we've gotten through all of those 3 story segments, so the party kind of reconvenes at this inn. We're going to get caught up with everybody, talk about, you know, what they've been up to or what they're thinking about. And then we're keeping track of this now. Len gets kidnapped. This is number 1.
Len, why would you get kidnapped once, let alone multiple times?
Yeah.
Surely she does not get kidnapped multiple times.
I will just say, as someone who also plays in speedruns Final Fantasy X, Len gets kidnapped more than Yuna does, and that is saying something.
Len's middle name is Shirley. Surely she gets kidnapped alive. Alright, so I gotta focus here.
All right. All right, so Ferric did get the deal that we were looking for with those collectibles, and that is going to allow us to do the rest of the upgrades that we want to do here.
Time to get wacky.
Yeah, we're getting wacky with the wackazashi, as Ferric likes to say.
So, like, all my weapons are upgraded. Like, that's crazy. The glaive, even.
Yep. Yeah, you got this is essentially the best loadout we can have at this point in the game, unless we go very out of our way for other things, which really doesn't make make much sense. But the reason this is such a good scenario is there is, especially in this sort of second part of Act 1, there's a bunch of sequences where we have to fight multiple enemies, and they're basically DPS checks. So if we can get more crits or if we can deal more damage, that's going to be the way that we can reduce the amount of time that we spend in those encounters. And those upgraded weapons give us the best opportunity to get that good RNG.
So we're just going to check out underneath this inn. I don't know what could be down in the bowels of this inn. Certainly not a creepy dungeon.
Yeah, and there's certainly not going to be weird, creepy, like screaming flowers or anything like that.
No, of course not. Whoa! Those are cool. I really like those. All right. So let's go see what we find down here.
Well, the good news is we rescued Len.
All right.
Another very intense menu. The menus in this game, no joke.
All the menuing. All the menuing.
And the other funny thing about the menuing in this game is, and Ferric and I have worked on this route quite a bit together, so a lot of times what will happen is we'll be like, oh, well, we can just consolidate these menus together. And it's like, well, now we have one really long, harder menu.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's only one menu now.
But that's how you want that to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, no puddings. They don't get to attack.
Yep.
Although it does make you want to go get some pudding. I'm not going to lie. I've definitely went and bought pudding after doing this combat before.
That is true.
I'm just like, oh, pudding sounds so good right now. And then you just have a little bit of pudding. Maybe not these puddings.
I don't know. They look like butterscotch, and I would say for me, butterscotch pudding is like my #1 pudding, so... Maybe not without, maybe no eyes and mouth, but, you know, other than that.
Okay, let's get out of this creepy dungeon.
Yep. Very cool boss fight coming up here, too. I'm going to let Ferric focus, and then maybe we'll kind of talk about it a little more afterwards.
Focus, Ferric. All right, let's get wacky. Hey, there's the crit. You gotta say, "Let's get wacky," and then you get the crit. That's it. Fight's over.
That was like the perfect.
I need this stuff for my PB. Like, this is crazy. That was so good. I just have to shout, "Let's get wacky."
So
it makes all the difference.
So this is an example of a fight where we started using Sienna instead of a lot of maybe older tactics for this run. And Ferric got the perfect sequence there, which was a Yokogiri into a Pedal Storm into an Ultra, and then just as the cherry on top, the Ultra did a crit for almost 1,700 damage. And I think that boss has 3,000 hit points, so that just
insane.
Tells you.
Insane amount of damage.
Yep. We call that an optimal fight.
Oh, yeah.
So nicely done there.
Let's hug some logs here. Hug.
Yep.
Hug some walls.
That is a fairly difficult to skip encounter. We're on our way to the city of Tormund now, which is where Len is. Len is the princess of Tormund, so gonna be some reunion soon, I guess, is the way I would put that. But this is a pretty chill part. Ferric was able to get the encounters, avoid the encounters. So we're pretty much just running through this area. Again, when you play the game casually, really maze-like. There's a lot of paths, parts of this dungeon that we're not really going down at all. So there's a lot more to discover, and this game is so exploration heavy, and it's also really friendly because of the reward board and the way that you can kind of just explore and check out the world and fill up the reward board. But really for the speed run, we are just going from point A to point B as quickly as we can for pretty much the entire run now.
That's definitely how speedruns go.
Minimal detours.
Minimal everything. Now watch, I'm going to get the cutscene skip on this. Just because all the combats have just been going perfectly. Okay.
No.
Apparently you can skip this cutscene, like you get it like frame perfect.
So
I've never been able to do it personally.
I thought they patched out this cutscene skip, and then a couple weeks ago while we were practicing for the marathon, I just randomly got it again.
Yeah.
And I was so excited because it was probably the first time I'd skipped this cutscene in like 9 months.
Like in the entire time you've been playing.
And I've never been able to skip it again since that run a couple weeks ago. So maybe it was a figment of my imagination. Probably not though.
So here we just have to kind of run across and zone in and zone out to get our next cutscene trigger. So that's why we're kind of just popping in and popping out, and there's Killian on the roof, just normal things, right?
Just Killian on the roof.
Just Killian doing things on the roof.
Yep.
Not being weird or anything like that.
Killian is not a brooding character in any way at all.
No, not at all. I'm sure Glenn would get up on a roof too if he could.
Who doesn't on a rainy night just enjoy going and sitting on the roof?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is Lenny's bedroom, right?
Yep. Mainly in this section, we're just advancing the story.
Okay, I get a little breather now. I finally get to take a little bit of a break, stretch my back.
An hour into the run.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Everybody's talking, and then there'll be a little bit of dialogue that I have to pay attention to choose the correct inputs.
Yep.
But yeah, I hope everybody's enjoying this run so far. It's a lot of fun. I think we're probably about a third of the way through it, and kind of buzzing through the first parts. We're having a really good time showing this off for you.
You're doing a great job so far. And yeah, we just passed the 1 hour mark, so you're on a very good pace as well.
We're on a PB co-op pace. Whatever that means. There's no such category, so.
We just both like this game, and we didn't want to have to fight over who got to do the speed run.
Co-op is pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for this section here, you do have to pick all 3 of those dialogue options, and if you're not paying attention in the speedrun, Cameron will just continue to say the same thing over and over and over again if you just hold the turbo button down.
It's like, you didn't get it the first time?
Yep, and Ferrick's got another big menu coming up here, so I'm going to let him focus.
All right, let's see if we can wreck some of these guards.
Good luck. Yeah, so in addition to like just kind of learning and re-equipping, Ferrick was also leveling up some of his skills there. The learned skills in this game have like a level 1, a level 2, and then they max out at level 3. As we get SP, we kind of get a pool of SP that we can upgrade skills out of. But also, any equipped skills that you have will level up by the amount, or they will, the SP will go towards those equipped skills as well. So you have to kind of find the optimal times to do the skill ups when the cost has been lowered some, and you also have some in your pool to spend.
So for this particular sequence, we're fighting like multiple series of guards. So we want to, if at all possible, have all 4 characters go first, and then try to kill one before he goes, because then you will go faster because they won't get to attack you. Unfortunately, the Thraz wants to be slow on this one. I guess there's still a chance I could kill one of the ones that's left. And I did. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did. I did kill one that was left, so that's good.
Yep, you did skip one little turn there. It really does kind of matter, especially if Sienna crits in this sequence. That is kind of like your main...
So I don't have my Ultra. I wonder why that is.
I usually learn Ultra Move Up, so I don't know if you learned that or not.
That might be the difference right there.
Yeah, it's okay. Still got through it. Very, very nice
but
fights.
interesting to know that I missed the Ultra because of that. That's a very good point.
A lot of little nuances in this run, and no 2 runs are going to be the same as well, because there's a lot of RNG in the combat in terms of just so many things. One of the things that we haven't really talked about yet is...
Oh man, you gotta watch this sweet move on the Gazer.
Oh yeah, let's watch this classic Gazer skip
A
here.
moment of
from
silence
Ferret.
for the Gazer. Come here, Gazer. Oh, look at that!
Nice job. Very well done. First try.
All right. Hey, what you were saying?
That's actually really hard to do. I don't want to.
Oh yeah, it takes so much practice. Like, and then you just show it off. You're like, this is so easy.
Yeah,
But
it
anyway,
looks
you were
easy
saying?
once you get good at it, for sure. So in combat, one of the major sources of RNG in a lot of, especially the random encounters, is the game will go through this cycle where certain classes of abilities will reduce the overdrive meter. And I think it's, again, trying to help you sort of like use different abilities, use some variety, not just do all the same stuff every time, which is, as speedrunners, that's actually what we want to do. We want to do the same combinations and the same abilities every time. But when they're yellow, they will reduce your overdrive meter. And a lot of times they will put you into the back out of the green zone at a time when you don't want your damage reduced. And that is, unfortunately, I've been learning as I've personally been doing more runs of this game. That is one of the most annoying RNG points in this run to me, personally, at this point. So I don't know if you have any thoughts or opinions on that, Ferric.
Oh man, I was totally paying attention to my menus because I got lost here the last time. Like I was going for my PV attempt, and I was just like, I cannot get lost here this time. So sorry.
No, you're good. Perpetua is probably
this place is so confusing.
It's like, it is definitely the most maze-like.
Well, there's a physical
areas.
puzzle too, which you'll see. Like we're gonna get to that. It's like you have to like navigate the maze.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I completely zoned out. I was not paying attention.
Yeah. No, there are definitely a lot of moments in this run where both Barrick and I are going to need some serious focus time.
Yeah, I was just like, what? You were talking? Yeah. But yeah, as soon as I get past this spot, you can kind of tell me what you said.
No, you're good. Yeah, Ferric gets Perpetua. I get the puzzles. I get the puzzles.
You get
later
Pushy
on
the
in
Orb.
run. I get to Pushy the Orb.
I love Pushy the Orb. I'm so jealous. Pushy the Orb is such a good part of this game. Come on, team.
But yeah, this area is very maze-like. It's very monotone in a way that a lot of the earlier areas in this game aren't, so it's just really confusing. And then there's this whole puzzle sequence that Ferric just started where you kind of have to put like some kind of oil or something in these pods, and then mushrooms pop up. And that's how you like build these paths to go forward, and it is definitely not easy to memorize and execute perfectly. So we'll see how Ferric does, but I believe in you, Ferric.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you have to do these pods in a specific sequence, or else you will get lost, or the next one will not be available.
This doesn't look maze-like at all, does it? Hello, bug. Okay.
Nailed it.
Feeling
Nice
a little bit
job.
better, yeah,
Very good,
that's no
Perpetua.
joke.
And your reward is you get to do more menuing. Congratulations.
I love menuing. Double upgrade.
Yep. So Rob finally got a real weapon.
Okay, that looks good. Okay, off to the boss.
Cool. Just letting Ferric focus on his menuing again there, and we got another boss fight here with the puppet and the puppeteer. This is the first instance where I will mention probably a little bit of a flashing light or sensitivity warning, so just a heads up there. This boss does get a little flashy at times. It's actually 2 enemies in one, so they both have roughly the same number of hit points. Wow, I think that was a crit. You almost got that one. And Ferric's going to use Sienna's Ultra on the bug part. And Puppeteer is the first enemy that does this interesting ability we will see a few other times during the run called Twisting Winds. And what that does is it messes with your overdrive meter, so at this point, Ferric is just in the red. There's no getting out of there. Thankfully, the fight isn't that punishing that it should matter. But
Yeah, I thought that was going to go a little bit better than it did, but I'll take it.
thought that you handled that fight really well.
Thank you. After the Arlette fight, it's just like my expectations are unhinged right now.
They can't all be that good. That was
just like,
such a good
wow,
fight.
what was that?
Yeah.
So now we're gonna get into kind of like an underground water area. Cool.
Yep. So again, fans of Final Fantasy VI, this should look very familiar to Leviathan's Trench, and it is in fact called Leviathan's Trench.
It's very literal.
Yep. Actually, I don't know if it's called Leviathan. I can't remember.
It is.
It is
It's
called Leviathan's Trench in this
exactly,
game.
yeah.
I just don't... It might be slightly different in FF6, but... Got some more enemies. So we do kind of have to keep up with the Joneses in terms of these equipment upgrades and then like the skill and stat upgrades as well. We're in pretty good shape right now, but the progression that you have to sort of match to keep up with the way the enemies scale in this game is real. And if you miss some upgrades, you can definitely fall behind, or you can be vulnerable to, having your characters get killed if the enemies decide to be particularly rude. So a lot of the fights are going to look samey in the run, but a lot of that is because we are doing a lot of work with the items that we're getting or upgrading, or the skills that we're getting or upgrading, to make sure that we are just trying to stay one step ahead of everything that we're going to be fighting.
Now, Blaze, watch this.
I'm
You ready?
watching. I'm ready.
I'm gonna show you a thing. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Do 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 do.
Oh, nice. I didn't know you could skip them
I told
going
you you
that
could
way.
do that. I just never done it. I'm like, so I'm like, I will show you. You could do this.
See, this is good. I'm learning just like everybody else.
learning
right
a
now.
thing.
Some new tech for this run, so.
Ah, Pelstorm.
Sienna was randomly just down to 10 HP in that fight because
Was she?
yeah, they were all focus firing on her.
Oh, okay. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
I'd
it
been
didn't
like,
matter.
what if she died?
But yeah, another really cool boss fight here coming up. More optimization with Sienna that Ferric and I worked on. So hopefully she'll crit again and make big number. That's still respectable. Rob's like, I'm not going to get shown up. I'm going to deal 1,000 damage. Nice job. It also helps that that boss is also naturally weak to water, so Rob already does a bunch of extra damage to him. That fight can be a little scary.
Yeah, that was stressful, but it went fine.
You hung in there.
Yeah,
You take a lot of damage in that fight.
you do. Like you get down to like 10 hit points. Just don't look at your hit points. Just keep going. That's what I do. I just don't look. Somebody goes down, it's just gonna be a surprise.
Yep.
I just kind of keep forging ahead.
Exactly.
So now we're in an old monastery with some creepy vines everywhere. We'll go get a weapon upgrade for Bethraz. And then we're going to move on pretty quickly to another boss fight here.
Just enough time to catch your breath and do another gigantic menu. I will say that is one thing for me that I'm looking forward to just doing the second half of the run, is I do feel like the amount of menus I have to do is a little bit less than you.
Oh gosh, you're so good at menuing though.
You're doing a good job too.
I'm very envious of your menuing skills. Let's see. Okay. That all looks good for Rob. And then... Okay, that all looks good. Moving
Nice
on.
job. Yeah, one of the other things about the game that we do have to manage in the speedrun, and if you play the game casually, you kind of experience this too, is when you learn a new ability, a lot of times you have to equip it if you already have all of the slots filled. So we have to make sure the same, because if you learn something new, you got to make sure you can actually use it. This is the Thieves Gang. I'll get to fight these guys again later, but for now, Ferric is going to take care of this first fight. Not too much to say. We definitely overpower them in terms of how much damage we can do, so don't expect too much resistance here. Unlike the previous fight that was definitely a little scarier. Also, Sienna's just like...
Sienna's going to town.
Sienna's
she's showing off at this point.
Sienna knows she is on the big stage tonight.
Yep, she's just like, I'll just finish off this last guy just for some style points.
Yep, nice job.
So yeah, they show up later in the game too. We have defeated them without eliminating them, I guess is what I would say.
Yep. There's also a couple of things that will happen in the game when you skip cutscenes, especially cutscenes that I'm not 100% sure you're supposed to be able to skip. So for right now, at least, we are backtracking. We're escaping through the trench here, and there's no music, so everybody just sort of enjoy the eerie silence and the pitter-patter of their feet, and I don't know.
The drips of water. You can hear the water dripping.
Yeah, puddles, splish splash.
Just kidding.
I have to say, Ferric, you're doing a really good job with your movement. I think that was the first wrong turn you've
That was a
taken
just kidding.
in like almost an hour and a half. So
Just kidding. Because I was listening to the feet and then I zoned out. That's the problem. That's the problem with really long runs, guys, is like if you have any tendency to like zone out or like lose your attention span, like it is very hard to keep your focus. So I kind of like zoned out there a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
And especially like that particular scene when the music stops and it's just like you're
like,
essentially in a sensory deprivation
I was like,
chamber.
this is very peaceful, isn't it? And I was just like, oh, and it's kind of like, was like, oh, this is nice. I'm like, wait, where am I?
Yeah.
I'm lost.
But we're already back to the action here. We're on the Aurora, which is one of the game's airships, and this one is quite large. We're going to be running through here, and wouldn't you know it, Len got kidnapped
Where's
again.
Lenny?
Yeah, Len got kidnapped again.
What did I call her before?
That.
Lenny Shirley. Lenny Shirley didn't get kidnapped. Lenny Shirley being her middle name. So 3. I bet we'll find her somewhere.
Yeah, Palmer in the chat pointing out how good of an indie title in this game is, and I'm horribly biased because I love this game.
Well, the guy that worked on this was
well,
basically like one guy that worked on it for years, if I understand correctly. It's just like, oh, no way, Rob was staggered? Oh, that's bad.
Rob was in fact staggered. You're fine.
Okay. It's just a lot slower. But yeah, I think it was like one guy that kind of, this was a passion project and he sort of put it together, so.
Yep. Yeah, this game was created by Matthias Linda with some help from a few other people, mostly towards the back end and also with like the music and translation and things like that. But yeah, I count this as a 2023 game because it came out at the very, very end of 2022. Good year for indie RPGs. This year was a good year for RPGs and video games in general, but particularly for indie RPGs. We just got so many good games this year, so...
That was getting Lenny back right there. It went by very fast.
Yeah.
You may have saw her blip on the screen just briefly.
All right, we reacquired Len again. Let's go ahead and...
Is it Len or Lenny?
I think it's supposed to be Len, but
like
there's no voice acting.
I like
in this
Glenny
game,
and
so.
Lenny. Glenny and Lenny.
It's definitely not Glenny.
Glenny and Lenny. They're the dynamic duo.
No, but it should be Glenn and Len, right?
No,
Glenn
and
got
Lenny.
staggered again. By
I know.
The way.
No, Rob did it. Glenn did. Rob did it. Yeah, Glenn is staggered.
Yeah.
Okay. Rob isn't staggered, I don't think. Okay, yeah, we're fine. No, Glenn can get staggered all day long. Glenny can get staggered all day long. Glenny and Lenny.
I don't know if I can handle you calling him Glenny for the next 2.5 hours.
Exactly. Like, I have to stop now. All right.
Yeah, just to kind of finish my one of my thoughts from earlier too, and I've talked about a lot of the reasons why I really like this game as a speed game as well, and you know I'm very fortunate I was able to run this game at both GDQ and RPG Limit Break with the glitched category earlier this year, but this glitchless category is, I would say objectively, even though again I'm horribly biased, I think it is objectively one of the coolest glitchless speedruns you could learn. If you like turn-based RPG speedruns, and
it's super fun.
You know,
the movement is so fast.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like a driving sim. Like you're zipping around so fast. So it's not just the combat and like the menuing and like the skills and stuff. It's the element of like moving through like the world is just very engaging. It does not let up. Like you don't get a break.
It's the kind of run where you get through like the first hour of it and it doesn't feel like you've been doing a run for an hour. I guess I don't know how to maybe describe it other than that. It's just so nonstop, good variety, good action, really fun. It does go through several different kind of modes where your strategies shift and change, and we'll talk about a lot of that as things go along. We're getting some Sky Armor combat. Yep.
With some killer music. Let's rock out.
Yep. The Sky Armor combat really adds so much to this game too, and I get to do a lot of that in my part of the run, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, you get a lot of Sky Armor. I get some Sky Armor. Oh dear, these poor gentlemen, they don't stand a chance. 6 damage, and I dealt 1,600. Okay. We can all see how this is going to go.
I hope that was not in their job description.
I had to sign up for that.
So the one major difference to the Sky Armor combat from earlier is we have gears now. So the way gears work is It's kind of similar to the overdrive system that we use in our normal combat, but if you want to deal maximum damage, you want to, I think Ferric and I will probably refer to it throughout the run as you want to gear up. So you want to go up to gear 2. You'll deal maximum damage at that point. You lose a lot of your defense, but a lot of these fights go fast enough that it just kind of doesn't matter. So we're going to spend a lot of the run in gear 2.
Let's gear up.
Let's gear up and get her done. This is our first fight with Godfrey. This is the last fight of Act 1, so...
Not Flaming Hot Godfrey.
No. We will fight many iterations of Godfrey.
Goodbye, Godfrey.
Alright. Nice Act 1.
Thank you.
You're on a really nice pace right now.
Thank you.
And I'm going to extend that to me, because this is a co-op run, so
that's right.
we're on a really good pace right now.
If
so
only I could find an orb to push.
Good job, us. I'm sorry, you're not going to get a single orb to push this run.
No, I get to push you I get 0 orbs?
You get 0 orbs to push you.
The worst.
Yeah.
I might have to kick you out of the chair and push you some orbs. Maybe I could just like push you one. Maybe I could just lean over you and just push you 1 orb. If the chat wants that, I'll do it. Alright, collecting our collectibles.
Yeah, so, in this game, like most games, you kind of start a new act, you get a big story dump, so time has passed. Glenn has kind of, Glenn is going through some stuff. We'll just maybe leave it at that. Friends show up, they've got the Sky Armor, and they're like, Glenn, you're the best Sky Armor pilot we know. Let's get back to work. And here we go.
Glenn's like, hey, friends.
So Ferric is going to get to do a good amount of Sky Armor combat here, and there's some really specific stuff that we're going to do. We're going to start by switching Glenn and Sienna's weapons around.
Sorry, I got distracted there for a moment.
You're okay.
I want to make sure everybody had the right weapon. Because that matters now, because they need to be leveling those weapons up like right now.
Yeah, the skill points on the Sky Armor are
tight.
really tight, and if you miss even one combat with the incorrect weapon, it can make a difference. Little bit of tech here. If you duck back into the cave, you can skip that dialogue. And the game does not let you get in and out of the Sky Armor while you are in dialogue. That will come up at several points throughout the run. But yeah, for a lot of these first Sky Armor encounters, you're pretty much just going to see Ferric gear up and wail on things. We do get access to a lot of different abilities for the Sky Armor as the run goes on, so that will get far more dynamic as things progress here. And during that cutscene that we just skipped, we did get reunited with the rest of our party. So the gang is all back together, except Killian. Killian is mysteriously absent. Right. Little menu, did a little other dialogue skip there. Like most RPGs that have different forms of movement, I guess you could say, the Sky Armor has its own rules. You can only board the Sky Armor in certain zones. You can only get in and out of the Sky Armor, or elevate, I guess, on flat ground. So you can go through the tall grass, but you can't elevate above it. So there's some kind of funky tricks and different things that are sort of puzzly about the Sky Armor movement, which is kind of nice. It's sort of like when you get the hovercraft in a new RPG and it can only go over certain types of tiles. That is essentially what's going on. It's a really good description,
and this is a very puzzly area because sometimes you're on foot, sometimes you're hovering. Like this next spot, I'll be hovering. Sometimes you have to go to the highest level and then drop back down. So yeah, they've done a really nice job with the level design.
Yeah, and it's one of those games where I just feel like every decision was made very intentionally. Either it's to sort of give you a variety of experience or a new experience as a player, or it is sort of gently nudging you to maybe try something different. So,
oh, nice crit.
Yeah, someone mentioned in the chat we're getting some big Xenogear vibes now. Absolutely,
Xenogear, sure.
This game actually has Sky Armor colors, and they specifically made some that are patterned off of the Evangelion Sky Armor. Or they're not called Sky Armor. The Ava models, which is also super cool. So there's just so much nostalgia in this game across so many different angles. It's just so much fun to find some of that stuff randomly as you're playing the game.
Guess we'll do this the hard way.
And just keep dealing damage.
Exactly.
And the other kind of fun thing, it just made me think of that, how you got between these two combats. So the game actually used that to teach you that you have to board the Sky Armor on those bear patches, because otherwise what will happen is you will run into this fight with these Yeti-looking things.
Yeah, like
and they will
abominable snowman.
Yeah, they will just wreck you.
Yeah,
they're
large and in charge.
Yep. You cannot fight Sky Armor fights on foot.
You can, you will die.
You can do the opposite.
Yeah, you
you
can do it unsuccessfully.
Yeah, it's just kind of cool how this game also, like, sort of, I would say it hides its tutorial areas very well, and just, again, the way it layers on, like,
That's
the new
better.
experiences is very neat. So this essentially is a tutorial area for a lot of what we're doing here with the Sky Armor movement, especially. And then we're going to get a real Sky Armor boss up here as well, in the Cortara Condor, so... Not too big of a deal for us, especially on the easier settings for this game. Particularly the Sky Armor fights, I would say, get the most trivialized. It doesn't mean they are free by any means, but early on, we can definitely outdamage and
What's Haku doing?
outrace. Haku's gonna help. Haku's
trying. He's trying his best.
Haku is our airship pilot who is sort of cowering down there. He did not sign up for this.
Yeah, Haku, you keep trying. We got your back. So I got focus here because I don't want to miss this.
Yeah, there's a specific cutscene skip coming up that is very finicky, and there's a lot of unique cutscene skips in this game that if you run the game enough, you will just kind of learn what to do and what not to do. So it's the third one coming up here.
Finicky one, do not touchy.
Yep.
Hello, platypus. Now I'm okay.
Yep. For whatever reason, if you do not, it's probably because it's giving you a fast travel crystal. If you don't let it start and you try to start skipping it, it will not let you, and then you just have to watch the whole cutscene, which is probably like 90 seconds long. It's a pretty long one. So we're gonna kind of enter errand mode, I would say now, for just a little bit here. Because we've actually opened up the world in a lot of ways. We have the Sky Armor now. We have the airship now. So we can do a lot of stuff that we couldn't do during Act 1. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to Cortara. We're going to pick up some cool RAM accessories for our Sky Armor. Because those will keep us on pace for learning the abilities we need, or it's just... it's going to help us get through the combat a little bit more by giving us more stat ups.
Biologist RAM.
Or special damage classes, maybe. And then this is Bao. Bao is a little blue dude on top of Mount Raidel.
Bao.
Hi, Bao. That is just where we fought the Cortara Condor. Bao is... so I should probably explain a little bit. So after Act 1, we kind of established this, like, free company almost. And there's a bunch of allies scattered throughout the world, and they have little global effects. The only one that we get in the speedrun is Bao, because Bao gives us a random amount of additional SP at the end of most fights against normal enemies. So we want to get Bao right away so that we can get another nice SP bonus over the course of the run. So, and now we're getting the Shaman emblem. The Shaman emblem is basically the mage emblem of the game. It's the second of the emblems that we get. We only get 2 emblems in the run currently. Bathraz is going to be one of our main damage dealers later on in the run, and the Shaman emblem gives a really nice benefit to his magic damage. And now Ferric is doing a quest out of order, but we'll talk about that in a second. What are you doing now, Ferric?
So you kind of explained how the emblems work?
I just explained that you were getting the Shaman emblem, and it was kind of like a magic boost.
Yeah, so that it just makes Bathraz like way better. Like he's already good. It just like totally OPs him, and he becomes like your main boss killer at the end of the game.
Yep. But we're kind of on the main quest line right now for Act 2, which is we are searching for Princess Amalia.
She was actually at the banquet.
She was, in fact, the girl with the green hair that we talked to at the banquet at the very beginning of the game, yep.
And she's got a really cool pet whose name is Cress.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I don't like about the speedrun is you don't really get to use Cress very much.
It's true.
So that makes me kind of sad, but other than that. So a lot of quick menuing here, a lot of kind of bouncing around. It's very confusing if you don't know the run. But now we're going to fly to kind of a desert city. That's where our next spot is, where we hopefully will find Amalia.
Yep.
Possibly, maybe.
Probably.
Well, probably.
And I'm actually taking over after this area.
What?
So I am going to sneak away for a second because I'm going to give myself a little bit of a comfort break before I take over on the controller. So you got this, Ferric. I believe in you.
See you in a minute.
Yep.
When you're speedrunning, it all goes by so fast. So there's a lot of sky armor that we're going to be fighting in the Oasis and making our way through some warehouses, basically trying to track down Amalia. And she will be our last party member that we will get for the speed run. Kind of sneak around these. Whoops, that didn't work. So there's no penalty for escaping. You can always just escape from a combat. Escapes put you on the side that you escape from, so I can escape from the correct side of those, even if I trigger them. And these are some unskippable scenes here, so... That's Amalia right there. That is Cress. Amalia's Ultra actually uses Cress. It is a very cool graphic. So that takes care of those guys. So basically in these warehouses, first of all, we're trying to get Amalia. Second of all, there's these switches that we have to throw to open up gates. This is the first of 3 switches that we have to throw to open up gates in the city. So again, it's kind of like a little puzzle if you don't know it. If you haven't played the game before. So the other 2 switches, we don't have to do combats for them. We can kind of just sneak around one of the combats here and get the other switch. But yeah, I've always... I like Cress, Amalia's little pet. I think, unfortunately, Cress does not have his own sky armor. I really think Cress should have his own sky armor at some point. So we'll sneak through here and take on some more sky armors. They are weak to wind, so that's a way to deal some damage quickly and easily. And I usually like to take out one at a time because that way you're eliminating one attack and it will speed things up. Hornet Dance is 1 to 5 attacks, so if you roll really poorly on it, you're going to get 1. If you roll really well, you'll get up to 5. So it's just one of those kind of... Sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not. sneak through here like this if I'm very tight, which I was. And then we've got a couple boxes hiding back here with items that I need. The big gray boxes have your sky armor upgrades.
Seems like things are going well.
Oh, hello.
Hi, I'm back.
Well, I was just talking about how Crest needs his own sky armor.
I did hear that when I came back into the room, yes.
He's so cute.
Cress is great.
He would be great in sky armor.
It's true. Yeah, the movement in this area is also really precise, and you're definitely doing a good job with that, so.
Thank you. Alright, that went very well. Another unskippable cutscene here. So we got a cool red chest up here, which means it has a good item in it. So I'm going to go ahead and snag that, and then I have to do a lot of menuing. All right, let's do this.
This is Ferric's end boss coming up here.
Oh, hopefully it's my end boss, and hopefully he doesn't end me, because he is a difficult boss. He can be very unforgiving. So we'll see what happens.
That's a super cool skip. I didn't realize you didn't have to. I didn't realize you could skip that fight in the combat.
Look
or
at
in
you
the sky
learning.
armor. Nice job. Yep.
You're like Eridor. Look at you learning.
Yep.
Again, weak to wind. We know that because we play this game.
Yeah, this is one of the. This sky armor combat's a little bit longer than the first boss fight we had with the Kartara Condor, so stuff like the poison salvo from Glenn definitely does some work over the course of the fight.
I'll see. That was a good horn dance right there. That was like 5. I think I counted 5.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
I think that's the
I have
max.
to
So.
focus on this next guy.
All right. This is Forgotten Mathai. Nice job. All
That
right.
guy's so hard. He did like triple fists of Nova on me. That was just not nice.
Yeah, he did. He did absolutely all of the worst things.
That was
he
just
can
so
do.
rude.
Yeah, you did a good job.
I've
so.
probably fought that guy probably 50 times. So,
Yep.
so we'll teleport out here, and we're gonna perform the swap.
Yep.
Y'all ready for this?
incoming, So.
All right, it's time for the swap.
All
Blaze
right.
is coming in, and I'm going out. Thank you, everybody. I'll be on commentary now.
Good job, Ferric.
Hey, it's Varric on commentary now.
It is going to take me a minute or so to
We
get
totally
situated,
handed off the
so
controller. He's in the seat. I'm like on the sofa. I have a little sofa in my office. I'm in the sofa. So
we have a commentary
now I
couch.
could just kind of relax and talk about what Blaze is doing. But hey, you guys already know everything that's going on, don't you?
Yeah, your part's over now. All right, so I get to take over, and what am I doing? I'm going to roll in.
So now I get to peek at the chat and see what people have been up to.
And I get to fly over Tack and say hi to Tack.
Oh, you just had to the Slorse though. You gotta yell Slorse when the Slorse runs by.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I was not prepared to yell Slorse. I have to just go hit a switch. I do get to kind of ease into things, which is kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man, that was a seamless transition.
That was
a seamless transition. So I mean, I felt like it was pretty seamless, and I was actually here. So I could see many things going wrong, and none of them actually went wrong. So
the fact that there's no camera absolutely means that it was a seamless transition.
Yes. Nobody tripped over any wires. Nobody fell over. The controller didn't get pulled out of the computer. So we will call that a success.
Yeah, so I get to kind of ease into things with some combat here. A lot of what Ferric has been doing, but we're kind of continuing onward with the... it's weird, so they're technically side quests, but there's 2 required side quests that you have to do in order to get through Act 2, so we're just kind of focused on those right now.
And I'm also going to take a quick trademark comfort break, and then I'll be back in a moment.
Yep. Good time. You've earned one. Good job.
One of the advantages of co-op, comfort breaks.
Yes. And it's a good thing because there is, like, no downtime in this run. Oh. Ferric, your buttons aren't in the same... Your menus aren't in the same spot as mine. I'll have to fix that after this. We all have our own particular muscle memory and preferences, so... I need to have... There we go. This is a really important area in the grand scheme of the game called O'Grain Grottos. We're not going to spend too much time here in this run, but a lot of the game's side content and optional content is also sort of connected through this area. This is a big scary monster. Thankfully, our really smart friend Madeline figured out that you can give it a berry and it's allergic to those, so we're just going to do that. And I am running around and then swimming around here to a really important accessory called the Earth Belt. The Earth Belt is similar to the water attack dry combo that we have been doing for a lot of the run. The Earth Belt is going to allow us to do the same thing, but with earth damage. So we're going to toss that on Rob. Bathraz has an ability that we haven't really done anything with so far called Draw Iron, but we'll start using that soon. And yeah, they are going to become a very potent, powerful duo. and I'm just finishing this side quest for Madeline. We actually hit the first switch before we even met Madeline. That was part of what Ferric was doing, just because it was a little bit more efficient and convenient to do that while we were in our revisit to Perpetua earlier. But there's 2 more switches out in the world. I hit the second one in that cave after we flew over Tack, and then the third one is out here in the Fear Woods. So I'm headed down.
And then just
there
be
now.
aware that because this is co-op, you may need to check your menus and make sure everything looks okay, because it might be a little bit different than how you set up for the second half of the game.
Yeah, we're good. The only thing that I did have to fix is you had power. You didn't have power swing where I'm used to having power swing, but I fixed that.
Oh, for the AoE, sure.
Yep. All good. Just preferences and things of that nature.
Yeah,
so.
that's. I don't want you to get thrown off by that, so you might as well just take care of all that now.
Oh,
But
it's good.
all the level ups should be more or less like what you're looking for. So.
Yep, I was paying attention, and I don't think you deviated from me all that much, except for one really specific thing that I noticed, and I'll fix that during my next set of skill ups. So.
Third eye.
Nope. Although, thank you for reminding me of that one as well.
Because you mentioned that the other day. I was like, we need to make sure you get your third eye if you want it. So.
Yeah, we'll see. This game is fairly forgiving. There's a lot of different ways to solve all the different puzzles, so I'm not too worried about it. I do want to remember one thing that I just realized I forgot, though, which is I've got that attacker ram, and I need to put that on Glenn, so... Alright, so we've now finished one side quest. That is the Gates to Nysa side quest. Nysa is the last area of the game, so we will be here at the end of the run. And now we are going to go ahead and do the other required side quest for Act 2, which is the Into the Maelstrom side quest, which is where we go inside somebody's mind. Pretty wild.
How is that even possible?
You know, I don't know. And I also don't know what I'm doing, so give me just a second here to get my head on straight.
Yep.
There we go.
Up and over the deck, yep, and then down. You're good to go.
It's just, stuff looks a little bit different on your computer.
It is. You're sitting in a different chair, different monitor, and you're picking up a game right in the middle. So
I've got a different perspective on things.
It's going to be a little bit different for a moment, so you're doing just fine.
This is honestly the
and
perfect...
I'm here to help, so...
This is honestly the perfect sequence to ease into things.
Yeah,
though, so
you
not a lot of combat.
You can do the first mind, which is pretty straightforward, so...
Yep. Again, another example of how I just love the way the game layers on like the puzzles and the different gameplay mechanics it uses. Mm-hmm. So we get this cool puzzle coming up where we have to move these tiles. I'll let Ferret kind of narrate it a little more once we're in there.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's sort of like you don't realize when you're doing it that it's like a tutorial, but then the game later on throws a really hard one at you, and you're like, oh, I've done this before. Cool.
Yeah, it's like it tiers the difficulty. So here, this is sort of the intro to this puzzle, but there's a very complex one that comes up later that basically makes my brain hurt every time I do it. And I've done it a lot, and it still makes my brain hurt. So it's one of those things that you really have to focus to do it correctly. But this one, the first one is just, again, it's like the tutorial.
We're gonna call it a confidence builder.
Yeah,
How about
so you're in somebody's mind. There's these objects that you can grab. There's a house. There's a bridge and a cliff. So you touchy the orb here. You don't pushy the orb. You touchy the orb. When you touchy the orb, you collect that item, and then it's basically like puzzle pieces for the map. You then move these pieces around to create bridges between different parts of the map so that you can get to the exit. That's the easiest way I could describe it. There's also, for some reason, chests inside this person's mind, and if you take an object out of the chest in their mind, you still have the object. I don't know. Don't ask me. I can't explain it. It's just RPG things.
They did it in Earthbound. That's my explanation.
They set the precedent.
Yep. Yeah, sort of like the aha moment that they want you to get in this. There's a couple of them, but the first one is you have to like figure out how to backtrack and get that piece that you left behind that it doesn't look like there's a good way to retrieve. And then the second one coming up here is you have to chain two of them together. Whoops, and then I picked the wrong one.
Yeah, I would say the backtracking is the least intuitive because you have to... In the later one, you have to place multiple items, backtrack through them, grab other items that you previously placed, and then pick up all your items. So pick up your toys. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was the first one. We're already done with it. So we're going to get out of that mind. Professor Xavier Styles, get out of that person's mind.
So we're just wrapping up the quest here. Unskippable cutscene. We're going to do a quick teleport here because it just is a little bit more efficient because we're going to that spot right there. And this is the town of New Wernshire.
Which has some slapping music, but we're only here briefly, unfortunately.
It's true.
Yeah, again, I gave a shout out to the music earlier, but I'll just do it again. It's just a really nice soundtrack. There's actually a Chained Echoes soundtrack. I think that you can get, right?
Yep,
Blaze?
you can buy the soundtrack for this game on Bandcamp, and I strongly encourage everybody to do so if you like the music.
It's very good music.
You can probably buy it other places as well, but I bought it on Bandcamp.
Is that a duck?
It's like a
Pelican?
It's not a pelican. It's like a puffin. Maybe?
Peliduck?
Did you say peliduck?
Peliduck, yeah.
Yeah.
Duckican?
You're right. It's a turducken.
It's a hybrid. It's a turducken.
It's a
hybrid.
turducken.
We'll just call it a hybrid.
Yeah. All right. So we're actually going to the last part of Act 2 now. Act 2 is meant to be much more of like an open world sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so much new cool stuff that you can do in Act 2, but we are mostly just going to go through all of the required stuff.
Yeah, we're doing some very specific stuff. So first thing we have is a sky armor fight. Again, these sky armors are all weak to wind, and then we're just going to start laying the damage on them. We do have some new abilities that we can use if we want to, but not sort of our highest level abilities, which we'll get in probably about 20-25 minutes or so.
Yep. And really what I'm trying to kind of do here is just sort of maximize the amount of damage that I can do and take out the enemies that are going to die to the maybe weaker attacks of Glenn and Victor.
So these next guys can be kind of rude. These are called Baki Warriors, and Baki Warriors, if you remember way back at the beginning of the game, the boss called Bro did something called a counter stance. Baki Warriors can also do a counter stance, which means if you attack them, they will attack you back. It's a very slow attack, and it usually hits all of your characters. So for the speed run, we generally do not want to attack and do a counter stance unless we're very confident that we will kill them. Alternatively, you can do an AoE. An AoE will hit a counter stance and not actually trigger it. So there are ways to work around it, but I've lost quite a few battles to Bakis when I was first learning the run because I did not respect the counter stance.
Yeah, I'm really just trying to avoid the counter stance as much as possible. Get them with my heavy hitters, so... And now we have the most annoying fight in the run from a speedrunner's perspective. This is the joke fight of the run. Can't win it. It's kind of just a moving cutscene, so... I'm just gonna chill like June here until it's over. This is a totally scripted fight. There's nothing I can do to speed it up other than just defend every turn because it's unwinnable, and the two characters here, June and Gwaine, are unkillable, and they're gonna go through their script. They don't care. Snap.
Oh man, we're on a really good time right now. I just looked at our timer. We're doing great.
Yeah, you had a good run.
We got to advocate for co-op on on the leaderboard.
All right, so the Sky Armor section is done for now. We're gonna head on into the main area, and this is the first time we've had any combat where we have the Earth Belt. So, Ferric, give him a little bit of a taste.
Oh yeah, the Earth Belt. Rob's got the Earth Belt now. So, as Blaze mentioned earlier in the run, a big part of this game is applying elemental debuffs on the enemies. And for the way we have our party set up right now, our Bard, which is Victor, can do a elemental debuff called Dry, and the Thraz can do an elemental debuff called Heavy. And Rob, because of his innate ability of water attack and then his equipped Earth Belt, both of those are considered weaknesses to Rob. And it's not just 2x for each of those, they multiply together, so it actually ends up being 4x damage. So Rob can just start dealing massive amounts of damage. And there's situations too where you'll actually have additional buffs on him, like Poetic March, which is just kind of a bard status buff for your whole party. So this is what we call the Rob zone. Rob is going to be the guy when we're on foot that is dealing all the damage to everything.
Just making a mental note as well, we're on pace with the Sky Armor SP because Sienna has multi-target, which is exactly what we want.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I was very careful at the beginning to get everything equipped correctly. Yep. Yeah, SP is very tight for the Sky Armors, and there's certain abilities that you want to get at certain times. So, yeah, we know from playing the game that at this point, our Sienna, who's going to be our main Sky Armor damage dealer, needs to be at a certain point, and she is. So that was a multi-attack Sienna just did. She charged up, she did multi-attack, and then hit everything for 8,000 damage, which is... Blockies are tough, but they're not that tough.
Yep. And that is my cue to swap their Ram, because we also really need Glenn to learn another ability now, called Enact Shot, as soon as possible.
Which is pretty much broken.
It is the most, in my opinion, it's the most broken ability in the game.
So Enact Shot will allow us to... as it sounds, hit a target, and they have to skip their turn. It doesn't just push them back like they literally skip their turn, so it gets very useful later on.
Yeah, we don't have it yet. We will have it very, very soon.
Both for regulars and for boss fights. So this is Sturm and Drang, very German, meaning I think storm and stress. I think I looked it up. Relatively scripted fight. You know, you can pretty much play it safe and just take one out at a time, and you're not really at any risk of like wiping or anything like that.
The fight does get a little bit tricky in terms of managing the elemental debuffs, I will say.
It does. Yeah, you've got 4 turns, you know, if you want to just kind of go at it. There you go.
I think I had something fall off there, yeah.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they fall off faster with these guys.
They do, and he's also not charged, but you got it, so.
Yeah, the not charging was deliberate.
Okay.
I was trying to just power through it. It's all good.
So that was Sturm and Drang. They had the storm and stress dealt to them by our party.
Yes.
So we just got the nice map of Volandis. Oh, my favorite part of the game. This is Push You the Orb. I'm so jealous I don't get to Push You the Orb.
I'm sorry, Ferric.
So this is a puzzle unique to this game where you get to push the orb around. You have to push the orb into the yellow square. If you hit the blue square, you reset the board. If you hit a gray box, it shatters. If you hit a green box, it stops. So you basically have to figure out how to move the orbs around to get the orb and or orbs into the yellow square. All the puzzles are the same. I mean, we've seen them, so we know the patterns. They get significantly more complicated as you get deeper into this temple area.
Yeah, they're pretty hard to memorize, and they're all over Act 3, so... if you get really excited when you solve one of the puzzles, you also get to yell "goal," which is kind of fun.
A goal, nice.
It's like a Spanish.
I've never done that before.
Spanish football announcer
fun.
style.
So another 1 or 2 unskippable cutscenes here, and then a skippable one, if I remember correctly, and we can move onward. So this is the Hermit's Isle, which is sort of our hideout for our party. Looks kind of cozy. Got a candelabra and a nice bed, and maybe needs a little dusting. Got a little cobweb in the corner.
You know, they're living in a cave. They're doing.
There's going to be some spiders.
Yeah.
I think that's a fern, since it's so dark there. Cress is there with the team. Team Cress.
Yep. Always by Amalia's side.
Yep.
And yeah, you know, we finished another act because we got a big story dump. So.
Heck yeah.
But now we are headed off to Shambhala.
Shambhala is a really cool area in this game. It's like a floating city above Volandis, I believe that is what the world is called, Volandis.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and you've got these different like pieces that are held together by chains. You get to jump around between the islands. You get to float around on rocks between the islands, and you get one of my favorite characters. His name is Eggle, and he will be coming up soon. He is an extremely cute character. He's kind of like a paladin job.
Sorry, I'm sorting my way through your menu.
Yeah, Blaze is like, this is not how I would have leveled up, so this is what I warned you about earlier.
The agility up was the one that I was like...
Yeah, just take your time and make sure you get
the
level ups that you want. So.
Yep, it's all good. There's no wrong way to do any of
Fair,
this.
please.
Nah, it's all good. There's no wrong way to do any of this, like I was saying, so... okay. Do have some fights. This is one of those like slightly awkward segments where you just we're gonna get a new weapon for Rob in right in the next area, and we just don't have it yet. So this fight's a little bit tedious.
The Tukabiris take a little bit longer than they need to.
Yep.
So yeah, I do what you do. I just armor break them and then just go for it. Yep.
Yep. And if you crit, oh, that's fine.
Don't Tukarang.
There we go.
It just takes longer than you think it should take. That's exactly what happens.
Yep. We'll get them onto one cycle fight soon enough.
Yeah, actually, the next time we fight them. Mm-hmm. So now we're on the floating rock. And here's our buddy.
What's his name, Ferric?
His name's Eggle.
No, he's like an eagle though.
But there's no A, so it has to be Eggle. Otherwise, it would be spelled E-A-G-Y-L.
That's true. Or that's fair.
Just like Glenny is spelled G-L-N-N-E.
And in a very long established tradition of kind of misfit RPG characters, Eggle is a bird who cannot fly.
Yeah. It makes a great paladin.
It does, yep. It's got a big heart.
And you can't spell paladin without pal. But first, let's beat him up.
Yeah, he is going to try to stop us.
But first, let's beat him up.
Hopefully it will not go well, because this fight can get a little bit tedious and annoying at times. So.
This fight can be bad if he does the wrong stuff. So
yeah, we'll see what kind of RNG I get.
Everybody's going first. That's always good.
Yep.
No downside to that. Okay, we should be good.
No, something just fell off. Oh, Heavy didn't get leveled up. Okay.
Did you level up Heavy? I was just going to say, did you level up Draw Iron?
I do it earlier, so I'm not used to it not being there, but it's fine. We got it.
Do you do it at the Earth Belt?
No, I do it way earlier.
Oh, I do it at the Earth Belt, because that's when we start using it, so...
Yep, no worries.
Makes sense.
This'll take care of things.
Minor detail that we will fix immediately.
Yep. Flat Eggle.
Alright, so now that we have proved our worth or something, I don't know exactly what, but Eggle will be in our party once we get to the main city in Shambhala. I mean, he's a cool guy.
Yep. He was just trying to do a Guardian.
Did you level Draw Iron?
Yep.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Yep.
I had my head turned.
We're gonna go do some shopping.
There's gonna be some mad menuing here.
Whoops. There we go. That's... Oh, I don't have enough money. Okay, interesting. I only need, like, another... It'll be fine. I don't need you.
You just up to sell it all, yeah.
Yeah. You never know. Maybe I do actually need it. I'm hedging a little bit. I'm also about to pull a ton of money off the reward board. So
yeah, that's the thing.
It'll be fine.
I actually do that in 2 different sequences, because all the money you get off the reward board.
I get some of it earlier, which is probably why I didn't have enough there.
Sure.
There's actually specific rewards you need here to do the upgrades, so that's kind of why I do
yeah,
that.
From the merchant, yep.
Yep.
You should be good now.
Yep. And I get to do another big menu. And we've got Eggle joins us too.
Oh yeah, you get to level up Eggle, who's new to your party, so he has like 15 stats or SP or something like that.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Optimize Rob. Actually, just optimize Glenn. I might have accidentally bought an extra golden breastplate too.
I thought you bought 2.
Okay, well, that could explain why I ran out of money as well.
Did you only want to buy 1?
No, I thought I maybe bought 3.
It looked like 2 because I was watching.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
pretty sure, but maybe not.
it's fine either way.
So we just got Eggle. Eggle has Wind Gust. Wind Gust is going to put dry on our enemies, which is what Victor has been doing with Profondo. So guess what that does? That frees up Victor to do his Poetic March, which is his stat boost. So now we've got basically Rob with 3 support characters. Rob's doing the damage. Eggle is doing Wind Gust. Bethraz is doing Draw Iron, which is putting heavy, and Victor's doing Poetic March. And this is all intended to max out Rob's damage.
Well, I have to try this because, yeah, I knew that wasn't going to work because something fell off.
Heavy fell off. You leveled Draw Iron?
Yep.
Okay.
I got a really bad turn order here too, so it's
Okay,
fine.
maybe that's what happened. Because, yeah, heavy fell off.
Yeah, I leveled it up, so
Okay.
unless it needs to be level 3 now.
It just needs to be level 2. You're fine. Yep.
Yep, it's level 2.
You're good.
So I don't know what's going on with
Just
that.
a good double check. I don't know why it fell off. Maybe he just did turtle things.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame it on turtle things.
Sometimes that turtle can just be a little bit of a pain.
Yep, and now I get to reflect on things while I float around on these floating platforms for a good while here. If anybody played Chrono Trigger, this is there's a section in Chrono Trigger that is like this, and it's really cool and very creative, where you have these like floating islands that are basically chained together to keep them from drifting away, and I love that idea. And now we wait for our next train.
Our next taxi.
Yep. Eggle gets to run around and do Eggle things. Be cute.
He's very cute. I always like having him as the first party member because it's just fun to watch him run around.
I was doing a run last night, and it occurred to me that so there's this section coming up. I'll wait till we get there, and I'll kind of explain it. But there's a particular animation that only your lead character does, and I was reflecting on the fact that I can't remember anybody but Eggle ever doing it. And it would actually be kind of funny if some of the other characters did it a different way. So
we're coming up on our first chain here. This is part of the quest of Shambalas. We have to break 2 chains to free 2 of these islands, and then there's also ether cannons that will shoot us down if we board our sky armor. So we have to disable 2 of the ether cannons. Once the 2 chains have been severed, and once the ether cannons have been disabled, we can mount an assault on Godfrey's research area and take out Godfrey once and for all.
Yep.
So that's an ether cannon right there that you just saw.
yeah, because you would think, I'm on a chain of floating islands. What's a really good way to get around? My sky armor. Well,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
exactly.
there's like anti-aircraft.
Yeah, it's basically
so
anti-aircraft.
we have to turn it off.
Very good movement around those turtles, too. The turtles have a pretty tight aggro range, and it's very easy to pop them, and he just kind of zipped right around them.
Yeah, thanks.
I actually use the D-pad there because I get scared that I'm going to activate them.
I'm going to scare these birds while I'm waiting. I love that you can just randomly interact with like birds that are sitting on the ground in this game.
Yeah, I
It's
think
just
there's
such
a Steam achievement, like if you make enough, it's like bother the birds. Like if you bother
Yeah.
enough birds, you'll actually unlock an achievement.
Yeah, it was that one
That's a great one.
when I unlocked it playing this game casually, it genuinely made my
Oh,
smile.
you unlocked it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
how
not
funny.
that hard. It's not that hard.
Oh,
to
that's
get,
great.
but yeah.
So yeah, so here we go. So Victor's buffing everybody. Eggle and Bethraz are putting their elemental debuffs, and then Rob will be charged and do his AoE and just wreck these. Done. So that's the whole rest of the game. Thanks for joining us for Chain Echoes. No, I'm kidding.
No,
we've
thankfully,
still got a lot of game left.
Hey. Got a good cycle there, because the fight went well. Just want this thing to go faster. It's a speed run. Maybe if I run off the edge, it'll go faster.
You push against it.
Yeah.
It's a moment of calm in the speedrun, as I like to say.
It's true.
Also has very nice music. It's like very atmospheric music.
Yep.
And I like the design. The color of the trees and everything is very pretty. Like kind of the pinkish purplish trees. So here we've got a couple monkeys and some more tukabiris. Pretty straightforward.
This is our first fight with the monkeys, and for some reason, every monkey-type enemy in this game can do this really,
We won't say the word.
We won't say the name of the ability, but we definitely do not want to see it for several different reasons.
Definitely don't want it on our characters.
Yeah. Alright, so that was the second chain. And we're almost done with the flying island. Oh, gosh, I almost didn't get on there for some reason.
I've done that before. If I'm not paying attention, like sometimes I miss the cycle. I did that like once, and I swore I would never do that again.
I was moving, and it like didn't put me on there. That was very odd. But I saved it at the last second. That was good reflexes, we'll say.
Like, yikes!
It's almost a big yikes.
Yes.
There's also like one really specific cycle earlier on where it's the only one where you don't get off at the first opportunity, and if you get off at the first opportunity, that can also really mess up your day.
So I've never done that before, but I can imagine that's a nightmare. Because you're just like, where am I?
But we're good. Just floating along to our last destination, last part of this area. Enjoying the nice view, like just the background art. You have this like bird's eye view, you know, because you're Eggle, of like everything below you. It's just such a cool effect. Can skip this encounter to the south. And monkeys.
Wow, picked on Victor.
I just appreciate the monkeys knowing they are on a family-friendly stream tonight.
Yes,
and
they're
behaving
very
themselves.
All right, so we're gonna do a couple big jumps here under the direction of Eggle, brave Eggle, and then flip our last switch, and then we're off to the research lab to take on, as we like to affectionately call him, Flaming Hot Godfrey.
Yep.
Because he is flaming hot when you meet him.
I'm glad you enjoy that name. I don't contribute a lot to those kinds of things in speedruns, and I appreciate that one particular thing did stick.
It fits.
So I swapped Glenn and Eggle here because I'm hoping for a particular turn order where Glenn goes first, and that will allow me... I think yeah, it looks like I'm going to get it. Except I used armor break on the wrong thing, so... Oh well. I was excited. I was excited that things went well. Rob got a crit and bailed me out. Thank you, Rob.
So yeah, the crit made the difference there. So that's Flaming Hot Godfrey has 3 parts. He has 2 fists in like his middle part, and it defaults your targeting to one of the fists, so you have to be sure to switch your targeting at the very beginning. Otherwise, you'll be attacking the fists, which you don't need to do just to kill him. So, but Rob came through on that one with a big old crit and basically one shot him. So that was that boss fight.
Yeah. Yeah, the ideal situation there is you get armor break and all of the debuffs on the middle part.
And then can, I wouldn't say consistently, but a good portion of the time you can one-shot it if you get all the debuffs and armor break on it.
Yep. So, we'll take it.
We're in our sky armor. We're safe because there's no cannons that are going to shoot us down. And we're going to head off to the next area, which is a temple area.
Yes, called the Empyrean Ruins, and I would say this is definitely one of my favorite areas in the game.
Very cool area.
It is also where most of the orb puzzles are, so I have to do a lot of puzzles, which I'm not...
A lot of pushing the orb.
Not super thrilled about in this particular setting, but I'm gonna do my best to make it work. Also, I mentioned you could yell goal earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If you like hockey, you can also yell, he shoots, he scores. That's another favorite
He
of
shoots,
mine,
he scores.
so,
Nice.
you know, you can yell Kobe from way downtown, things like that. So
there's options.
Yep, you've definitely got options depending on your sport of choice, I would say. These fights are kind of tedious and annoying. There isn't really much we can do to avoid any of the random encounters in this area, so we're just gonna hope that Rob hits his damage numbers and doesn't go under, and then we should.
It's just a basic monster fights because we're kind of working our way through the forest.
Yeah,
we can't deal quite enough damage with Rob to take them out in one shot. Usually, there's one or two left behind that have high armor, so we have to kind of mop things up.
And you also just kind of hope that like all of these enemies do their basic attacks, because that is typically going to be their fastest animation as well.
True to form, one left behind.
That's very common.
Yep, very common. But it usually has like 2 hit points because you can just attack him with even like Victor or Eggle and it will just kill him.
Yep.
So this is going to be our first switch in here. We run in there and hit that plate, and that's going to trigger one of 2 switches to open the gate to get to the next area.
Yeah, there's lots of finding and hitting switches in this particular part of the game.
So one of them is lit up. You can see right there the yellow one is lit, so that means we did that correctly. Now we have to kind of go through and hit these totems to raise and lower gates.
Yep, the totem puzzles are really cool. We used to interact with them quite a bit more because there was a weapon that we used to get in the run that is a little further up in this section, but we don't get it anymore.
Yeah, there's basically a complex like sequence of the totems to get. It's essentially 2 special weapons. Is it Bleach Bow and what else is there?
There's a weapon for Rob. There's a weapon for Glenn, and then there's actually a not insignificant safety item that you can also get
there too. But it takes about an extra, like I would say, 45 seconds to a minute to execute that sequence. And Blaze and I kind of just figured out we just do the run without those good items.
Not worth it.
Not worth it.
Just got a sky armor upgrade. Those are pretty sparse, especially for the Act 2 and Act 3 portions. This is where we really do start to pick up more sky armor upgrades, and it really does make a difference because the sky armors themselves don't actually level up at all, so unless you get new gear, they other than skills, will stay basically the same.
Yeah, it's pretty critical to get the ones that are... We don't generally go out of our way to get boxes unless we really need them, but we'll grab any big gray box on the way because that's going to upgrade our sky armors. But first, pushy the orb.
Always pushy the orb. Whoop.
You got it. Yep.
Those orbs are slippery, I tell you.
They are. Eggle's struggling with it. You would think Eggle would be good because they're kind of like big eggs.
You would think. All right. And now this next section, there's a bunch of these really like sweet and wholesome like golem NPCs. They're definitely some of my favorite characters in the game. They're my beautiful robot children.
This one you have to be careful because you will aggro that dragon if you're not. So, yeah, where Blaze landed is generally what I do, and then I just push myself against those bushes to make sure I don't get too close.
Yep.
It's kind of confusing. You have to run through some of these areas, but then backtrack again. The maps are very like challenging. I mean, I know them so well now, but when I was learning them, gosh, it was so easy to get confused and lost.
It's very puzzly.
It's very puzzly. And then with the sky armors, you're going up and down. So he went up and then he just hovered and then landed. And then he's going to now he's in the correct spot to kind of move forward by fighting some apes. But first we're going to do some sky armor upgrades so that we're a little bit more powerful and have the abilities that we want.
Do not have an axe shot quite yet.
Yep, so an axe shot, like we were saying, is the one we're looking forward to. I believe we'll get it on the next combat.
Yep, very soon. Oh.
Oh, did you hear that sound effect?
Yeah.
That was kind of gross.
Yep. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard that sound effect so clearly before. The headphones.
Yeah, it's very squishy.
Yeah, very
say.
squishy.
Yeah, unfortunately that paralysis is legitimately annoying.
Yep, that's something that they do that's annoying, unfortunately.
Got through it.
So now then we have to dismount, we have to go north again, we have to go through here again, we have to remount. It's very puzzly.
And if you want the items, you have to kind of fly and get the items
Yeah,
too.
you have to kind of zip around, so he just got another upgrade there.
I won't equip that one yet. It's not as important, but I'll need it soon enough.
Yeah, we have to keep
Perfect.
the menuing under control, so sometimes we'll pick up a variety of different items before we actually get into the menus and put them on our characters, because we won't need them necessarily until later in the game. So what's going to happen now is he's going to work his way through a couple of monster fights, and then he'll kind of have a handful of sky armor upgrades, and he can do them all at the same time, which is much faster. And the one that he just got is like Hammer and Shield, which is Victor's upgrade, and Victor's just not really a damage dealer at all. He's just kind of a support character that's... He does what's called Defense Break, which makes it easier for other characters to damage the monsters. So there's our next shot. So basically, any monster he shoots with that now, the first time, it will not be able to attack. So it's very powerful. But we also use it on bosses.
Yeah, that was what I was just going to add.
Yeah, like every boss after this that's a sky armor fight, we will be using an axe shot. It's pretty consistent, so the first time you use it, it works. The second time you use it, it's resisted, and then the third time you use it, it works again. So you're always going to get at least 2 in-acts out of it, which makes the boss fights go so much better.
Yeah, 2 out of the first 3 turns, they don't get to do anything.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing some of the boss fights without an axe shot. It is just that good.
Yeah, I hate that particular ability that the gorillas do enough that I actually use the enact shots on them instead of the big scary dragon, and you might think that is... Okay, it missed. You might think that would be the ideal target. You would be wrong.
We're doing these combats very well. Lots of good, precise menuing to sort of maximize our damage and minimize the number of attacks that the monsters will get, because each of those animations does take up a certain amount of time.
I'm never ready for this orb puzzle.
This one's pretty tricky. And I've never stepped on that blue square when I wasn't supposed to.
They put it right by the path
I know,
out.
in that one, it's in a terrible spot where you can just literally run right over it. So we're
Yeah.
off to a boss fight. This guy is called Shaved Head because, well, he's got a shaved head. This used to be a real bear. Now he's just kind of a kitten, unless he does one really bad attack. But we use that enact salvo to just basically take him out of commission. He gets one cycle to do things to us. And generally speaking, he does not do his bad attack. He has an attack called Sand Blow that will set back all of our gears to gear 0, and that will slow things down significantly if he does that. It's got to be like a 5% rate or something, because I just...
Please don't talk about the bad thing that this boss can do.
It's so rare that you see it.
Just don't.
Alright. And that's Shaved Head. He's done. I figured he would do it.
You were attempting it about as hard as I've ever heard any commentator.
You tempted fate with my cutscene skips for the early monsters. We'll consider ourselves even.
Oh boy, I didn't know I did anything wrong with that. I did remember to not make all my characters disappear during that cutscene after the fight, so that was good.
Yeah. That's not fun when that happens. You generally don't forget when that happens.
I have actually gotten through that in an actual live run, where my characters like blipped out of existence, and I figured out how to.
You just kept going.
Well, I had to do so this whole so I'm about to do this like really involved puzzle section. I had to do it without seeing my character models, so
Yeah, that's insane.
And then they reappeared afterwards. That was nice of them.
Yeah, that happened to me that once, and I just was kind of like, nope. I kind of noped out of it.
Yeah, the other option is restart your game and do the fight again.
I was like, this is not working.
Yeah. Thankfully, if you've seen any of my glitch runs, you know I actually have a decent sense of where, like, how to navigate characters out of bounds. So. Yeah, part of why the game does get a little bit samey at this part specifically, I would say, is you don't have a lot of fights where you can really do anything too dynamic. A lot of the fights are just groups of enemies or sky armor bosses or sky armor fights. A lot of the bosses in the next section after this, they have a lot of different modes, I guess I would say. So you can interact with them in some different ways that really do kind of mix things up a little bit, which is cool.
And the music just disappeared for some reason.
Yeah, it's because I skipped that cutscene, but we get to
enjoy
just
the
like
pitter-patter of Eggle's feet.
And birds chirping.
So if you look closely when he goes and hits this, see those chests down there? There's the red totem. That chest right there, that's where the really nice bow is, and there's a really nice sword in there. And then there's an item called Ambrosia, which will restore all hit points on a character. So there's definitely some goodies behind those other gates, but you have to flip all of the levers 3 more times to get behind the gates, and then you have to flip them all back to get to the next section. So it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But now let's just collect birds.
I found a bird.
You found a bird.
My bird found a bird.
Yeah, we have to collect 3 birds that are in preset locations, so we know where they are to advance the story. There's a golem that is needs his bird friends, I believe, or something like that. And
yeah.
Once you get all 3, then he will open up the way forward.
Yeah, he's basically blocking your way, and then he moves, which is nice. Because he's very concerned about his bird friends, and frankly, I can relate to that.
Eggle should be concerned about bird friends, too.
You would think. Alright, we got more of them that time.
Yeah, that was good.
So this golem is just like friends with this other golem, and they get like separated, and
Golem buds.
you save them. So that's nice. And he was blocking this door before. And then the music breaks again.
Yep, we can hear the birds chirping.
Yep. Very, very briefly, though, because that's the one that...
Oh dear, where were you going for a moment there?
I'm good.
Okay.
These maps these areas all look very similar.
They're tough maps. It took me forever to learn the temple. It's so confusing with its different levels, upper and lower levels. Like, It's just very confusing.
It's very easy to make little minor...
Absolutely.
Movement mistakes.
And then you're like, wait, this isn't right.
And then you're also thinking about how you have to push the orb again.
Yeah, you're thinking ahead. That's when you run into problems. That's the same issue I have. I'm like, oh, I've got this next part coming, but you have to focus on the part you're on. This one, I think, is not quite as bad as the other one.
This one's my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just such a...
It makes sense, yep. It's very logical.
Neat puzzles. All right.
Treasure room. Da-da-da-da. Lots of goodies in here that we're going to equip and take care of our characters with. And then we want to get everything equipped because as soon as we leave this room, we're into another boss fight with a sky armor.
Yep. A dark sky armor.
Here it is. He does Pure Terror. Pure Terror is an ability that if you don't heal your character up by his next round, then that character will just straight up die. Doesn't matter how many hit points he has. So part of the strategy for this particular boss fight is you need to make sure that you keep your character up.
And the terror falls off.
Well done. Terror is gone, and now we can get to work. Cool looking sky armor though. He's got like some big staff and some like a pointy helmet. Got a cape. Sky armors have to have capes. Very important.
Cape accessory.
Yes, cape accessory. Yeah, LOL plot armor in the chat. Plot armor is about the best name for an armor that I could think of.
It's true.
Plot armor is one of the best armors in the game. The first time I saw that, I was like, that's too good. I love it. Well done.
Got him. Yeah, if you know how to sequence the abilities right in these fights, you really can sort of outrace them on the damage front.
Absolutely.
This guy does have the...
You can do an annoying paralyze ability.
Yeah, he does have one really nasty ability, which thankfully he didn't use. But yeah, Enact Shot is just very, very broken in this game because it is used on bosses, which... most RPG bosses, you can't inflict status effects on them, but for whatever reason in this game, with the Sky Armor bosses, you can get that enact on them every other turn, and it is just, it's really good.
It's pretty broken.
Yeah.
It's pretty broken.
Yay, Amalia time.
Yeah, it's like not a pushback, it's like literally they just lose their turn.
Yep.
So Amalia, we get to play a little with Amalia right now. We don't get to use her very much in the run, but we do get to run around with her and talk to people about food and cooking and what sort of dishes they like. So we're going to go talk to all of our characters and get some information from them and then head back and cook a meal.
Except we're not.
Oh, I thought this was the meal one.
Yeah, but you can skip the cut. You can actually skip the cutscene now.
You cook the meal, but like, yeah, so we skip it, so.
Yeah. You did not used to be able to skip this cutscene. For whatever reason, it just sort of became skippable on one of the patches, so we skip it now.
So I've cooked that meal many times.
Yeah.
I don't cook it anymore.
Exactly. All right, but we got to get back to the action, so no time to eat.
Let's just head to a grave. That won't be creepy or anything. So the grave, we're going to find two of our characters kind of separated out from the rest of our party. And they have to actually fight their doppelgangers, which is another good German word. Doppelganger. It just means clone. So they have to fight their clones. So it's going to be Amalia and Bethraz that have to fight their clones. The fights themselves are fairly straightforward. We do have unskippable cutscenes for this particular area, and they do portray some violence. So if you're sensitive to that, you might want to turn away during those cutscenes.
Whoops. Yep. And there's also some flashing lights, especially in Bethraz's.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is really like the part of the story where Bethraz and Amalia, you learn a lot about their past and kind of
About bad things, yeah.
The bad things that have happened to them in the past, the trauma that they have experienced.
There's been trauma.
Yep. But hey, Crest is going to help in this fight.
But first, let's kill a doppelganger. You get him, Crest.
Yep.
Ah, re-raise. So this fight goes fastest if she can't cast re-raise on herself. So you lose a couple seconds there if she does that, but
yeah.
Hey, 3.5 hour run, a couple seconds, no big deal.
Yeah, the fight is completely scripted. So if you get a couple crits, you will basically end the fight before the doppelganger can cast regen or re-raise, but most of the time you don't get that. So I guess I can just kind of summarize what's going on here because I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but we are basically finding out that in the past, Amalia and Bethraz have both made deals with the devil. And for whatever reason, when you go visit the grave, this is where the devil decides it is time to pay up.
Yep. Yeah, I've never done an actual vanilla playthrough, so I don't know exactly what's happening, but clearly bad things are happening. There's a lot of dead bodies. There's a lot of blood. So
a lot of 16-bit blood.
So, like, I'm not sure I want to know.
It was a horrible painting accident.
Yeah, horrible painting accident. Perfect. They got into too many berries.
Yes.
Too many berries.
I
was just going to say, don't
well, I tried to do it like a drive-by, and
you were fine. I just wanted to make sure you got it.
Yeah.
Meals are healing items for your party members. It's an item. It's not a spell, and we do need to have a certain number of meals for the end of the game.
Yep. It really helps if you have 3 of them, and conveniently enough, there are 3 of them in this sequence.
Yeah, 3 is a good number.
Yep.
So here's Bethraz's doppelganger. I think Bethraz is going to summon up his big gun.
Nope, I don't do that anymore. It's too slow.
Ooh, interesting.
2 light swords
so, gets it done. Is that faster than the Ultra?
Yeah,
Oh,
the animation of the Ultra is just way too long.
Okay, I'll start doing that. See, look, I'm learning things too. Look at what we learned when we played co-op.
Yep, just those little optimizations.
Small optimizations, exactly. You're like, oh, you did
out.
that a little different. That's a little bit better. And I could definitely see that saving a couple seconds for sure, because the gun takes forever. And it doesn't really always work. Like, sometimes you have to Dark Spear also.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a long, unskippable cutscene. Yep. Flashing lights, violence, all that.
There's that sort of devil character again to make the bargain. There's kind of like a Full Metal Alchemist moment here, where it's like the enchanted suit of armor. We actually see one of those later on in the run too, in a different cutscene with a different character. Just got me thinking.
Oh, interesting. I think you're right.
After this cutscene, we're gonna have a boss fight with all of our other party members, and that is going to be against a RPG staple, the Demon Wall. So
yeah, exactly.
I have to do a menu and then kind of get into that
living
fight
wall.
here in a second. So.
There it is.
We'll probably do this fight a little different than how I normally do it, just because I want to be safe.
Sure.
But we do have to do some skill ups before that. One of the interesting things about this run is we really don't want to learn skills unless we actually really need them, because skills do override each other in characters' skill menus. So if you can help it, you typically don't want to learn skills, because then you might have to go like fiddle with your other menus as well.
Yep, that's a really good point. And the other thing that, I don't know if you do this, but I also don't learn counters, because counters trigger status effects and animations that are slow.
Yeah, I also don't learn counters for that reason.
Let's take down this living wall. 2 big swords, four heroes. I think we got this.
Yeah. Rob just got a nice crit there, too.
I'm not going to talk about any annoying abilities that he does. I'll talk about them after. Nice. Wow. Yep. That was brutal. Oh my gosh. Okay, that went really well. So he can actually blind your characters. It doesn't happen very often, but if he blinds Rob, things slow way down.
Yeah. And then all the music decides to play at once for some reason.
Yeah, well, it's very chaotic in my ears right now.
Yeah.
Those two crits were really nice.
In my experience, that fight can potentially go just a little bit faster with Len, but I didn't want to worry about it without.
That looked really good.
So. And now we've come to Mary Leah, which I love this area. We do not spend very much time in Mary Leah, but I absolutely love the music in this area particularly. So
yeah, Mary Leah has great music. So where are you headed?
We're gonna go find Len. Len did not get kidnapped.
Did she get kidnapped?
No, I think she just wandered off this time.
Oh, okay.
She does actually get kidnapped by the church, because without going into any spoilers, she is very important to the church.
Okay.
But
not
and
this time.
technically she can't leave this place, but
isn't that considered
she also
kidnapping?
gets to wander around, so I'm not sure if she's technically kidnapped.
It sounds like she's a prisoner.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of prisoners.
Okay.
Yeah, but bad stuff's going to start happening, because the sort of interstellar ancient evil JRPG god enemies have sort of awakened, and they're not particularly pleased with what the church has been doing and kind of the state of things at the moment. So
JRPG gods?
Yeah.
Is there a chance that we would be fighting a god in a JRPG?
You know, it's possible.
I'm not sure I've ever done that before.
You never know.
A god in a JRPG?
It's been known to happen.
It's been known to happen.
A lot of the hallways in this area look very, very similar.
They do. This area also, it's not terrible, but when you're learning, it's a little bit confusing. It's easy to make a wrong turn.
Yep.
And just the movement in the game is so fast, you don't have a lot of time to process like how you're moving. So I think it's the combination of the tile set with like the fast movement speed.
Mm-hmm. We need to get a series of key cards to sort of progress through this area. So A, B, C, D, they're always in the same spots. We just got to make sure that we don't go down the wrong path.
Interesting cutscene.
That is a very
interesting,
very funny cutscene. This game, the church in this game does have a pope.
Yes,
or they did before that cutscene, I guess. not to give anything away too much, but yeah.
We have a strong chonkler in the chat wishing us good luck, friendo.
World record holder for Chained Echoes Any percent glitchless Strong Chonkler.
Yeah, the one and only strong chonkler. So thank you for the good wishes, Strong. Everything is going very smoothly right now.
It's true.
We're having a wonderful co-op run.
All right. Almost done with this part. I'm going to double upgrade this Opal Amulet. It is very important for later. It's Bathraz's best weapon that we'll get in the run.
Yep, it's critical for him to be able to deal maximum damage later in the game.
We're gonna take a brief detour here to save some people that have been cornered by monsters in the garbage chute. I don't know why everybody's down here in the garbage chute, but it seems like that's where the party's at tonight. Alright, now we can continue onward.
Okay, yes, get out the garbage.
Yeah.
Enough of the garbage.
A little bit stinky, but otherwise none the worse
Yeah,
for
a little
wear.
bit stinky, exactly. So we do have a skippable combat up here with good movement. Very nicely done. Again, I use the D-pad there because I'm a little more scared than you are, but you skipped that quite nicely. And then a couple combats before we get into our next boss fight.
Just this one, thankfully.
A couple combatants, how about that?
Yes.
I fixed it.
Well done. Okay, I was worried he was going to do the vines, and I was going to maybe have to like escape and come back. And
Yeah,
that
the
would have
vines
made it multiple combats.
is not
so.
that common, and it would have to go on Rob to really be a problem, but you got
Yep.
it.
All right, so we got the boss fight for this area coming up here.
This is the dynamic duo of Raphael and Eva. I believe one of these is Raphael's a playable character, right?
You can get Raphael later
Yeah.
on. Yep.
It's kind of cool looking.
Yep. And
Reminds
Eva,
me of Killian with the big two-handed weapon.
Eva is Sienna's girlfriend. So
Oh, really? I did not
yeah.
know that.
There you go.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Oh, no, I have to do more puzzles now.
Push you the orb.
Nope, the other kind.
Touch you the orb.
Yes.
Touch you the orb is requires concentration, that is for sure. It's very easy to get mixed up in touch you the orb. All right, so we were in somebody else's mind before, and now we're in Glenn's mind, and Glenn's mind is a very complicated place.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bits and pieces that we have to put together to make our way through here.
Yeah. After that fight and the city basically crashes to the ground, Glenn falls into a coma, and nobody's really sure why. So we're sent in to investigate. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's not great.
Yeah. Why don't you talk to us, Glenn? Tell us what's going on.
Exactly. Eggle will lead the way.
Yeah. Okay, good. They were the eyes behaved themselves.
They were
tonight.
friendly.
There is a non-zero chance they will blind Rob, in which case it's basically faster just to back out.
You
of
can't
the
just
fight and
reset
start
at
again.
that point. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Nope. There we go. Gonna be, whoops. It's just gonna say I'm gonna be very focused on this puzzle section.
No, I'm just
here.
letting you focus because this can get very confusing very fast.
That's the third of the pieces that I need, the ship right there. Figuring out that path forward.
Yep. So that's about halfway through. Nicely done.
Yep.
Keep up the good work.
Rob reminds me now that, hey, we should probably get that piece that we left behind there.
Thank
we
you,
should figure
Rob.
out how to do that.
Rob's just full of good advice.
Yep. It's like, duh, Rob, I've done this 100 times already. I know how to go retrieve the other piece. But you know, Rob's trying.
Rob's trying to be helpful. He could be worse.
Yep. Alright, so we've gathered, we backtracked, got our ship piece, and now we can move forward with all three pieces and finish this up. That is, wow.
That looks weird.
I am, I'm struggling at the
You're doing
moment.
fine. I've just never seen the dungeon there before. It looked very strange.
Yeah.
Like it was like all like pixelated.
I thought I was going to be done, and I got excited, and that was a mistake.
You got this. You're doing great.
That encounter is
Now you're
actually
almost done.
very difficult to skip.
Yeah, you got to push you the wall on that one. All right, you made it. Good job.
Yep.
Top
And
area.
My reward is 2 not easy boss fights.
Oh, but they're so nice when they go well.
They're very not fun when they don't go well.
That is very true.
So we'll see what kind I get tonight. Whoops.
But first.
I have to go through the Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
But first we have to build them.
Mm-hmm.
Build a boss.
Any good boss, I think we all know, any good boss needs eyes, a nose, and a mouth.
And some lips. Some flying lips.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we made here. There they are.
It's a little bit punny, too. This is
Oh
the
my.
Behemoth.
Behemoth.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I did get an extra turn with Bethraz, which is interesting.
That's very interesting. Bye, Bethraz.
The heavy fell off again. Man, I need to not let that keep happening. Some of that is a little bit luck-based. It depends on how many turns the boss gets, because the status effects and the debuffs just kind of last for a certain number of turns. So if the boss gets an extra turn, the debuff can fall off before you sort of intend it to.
That was not as easy as it is sometimes, so that was a good job.
Yeah, sometimes you can just one-shot that boss.
Yeah, he just gets wrecked. Yeah, that vomit ability can be very bad if he vomits on Rob and Rob doesn't recover.
Yeah.
So let's go through the Yu-Gi-Oh card. Probably terrible things happening in that cutscene that I don't know about.
I won't spoil it for you.
I'm just gonna guess.
Ferric, I'm begging you, play this game casually sometime.
A motherly woman carrying something out of a burning building. That can't be good.
All right, and here's the second boss. This is the Chained Echo itself. Okay, the heavy did not fall off that time. Good.
Nice damage.
Nice. Yep.
Very good damage.
Did the Twisted Mind that we saw that earlier. So I have a very weird... I have a very strange overdrive meter now.
Yeah.
Don't think it's quite dead,
Not quite,
but it
no.
should die to Rob's next attack. So use Mazurka again. Alright, we're good.
There you go. Good job.
Yep, thanks.
Again, kind of like a not optimal fight, but way to
Yep.
kind of just hang in there and piece it all together.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely get the lion's share of the... I would say a lot of the boss fights towards the end, there's the good way they can go, and then there's the improvisation.
There's the kind of, let's just get this done way they can
Yeah,
go.
there's the other way.
And then there's the wipe, which we don't talk about. So.
Yeah, there's... A lot of these bosses have like one nasty, usually status effect inflicting ability that they
yeah.
don't do very often, but they do just often enough that you know about them, and haven't had to deal with much of that yet, which is nice. Alright, so now I get to do some Sky Armor stuff, which is cool. Start by getting some upgrades.
Yep, so we're in the tower, which is a multi-level area where we can grab some of the big gray chests that are going to allow us to upgrade our Sky Armors, and then we'll proceed through a couple Sky Armor fights, a couple Baki fights, up to a boss that's on the upper level.
Also, shoutouts to the Thraz for finally getting an upgrade to his starting magic attack cannon.
Yes.
Very happy for him. He deserves it.
Thraz is doing things now. Like that.
Yep.
Still have a little dialogue running by, but that's not going to stop us.
We hope.
Actually, good point. Yeah, it can stop us, but hopefully it won't stop us. Okay, we're good.
Alright, so let's see here. That one's got the break.
Good damage.
Yep. I was hoping that would finish that one off. Oh well. Alright. One more sort of quote-unquote normal fight, and then we get probably, just in terms of the brain power it takes, I would say it's the most difficult boss in the run, except for maybe the final boss. Would you agree, Eric?
Yeah, it's definitely top 3. It's depending on the order of initiative that you get, the sequence of your characters is critical for the types of attacks that you're going to want to do, because you can very quickly run out of your tactical points, and then it's just a total slog at that point.
So we'll see what kind of fight I get after I get through this one.
Because I always like to take us back to the sound of music for that one.
You'll see, yeah.
Yes, I will sing on this stream. Prepare yourselves. Alright, nice job on the Bakis.
Yep, thank you.
So this particular boss fight has a known bug, so we do have to load a save point, which is just going to be... We're just going to save the game and then just... yeah, it's fine. And then just load it back in to, I don't know, reset the game so it doesn't bug out.
Yeah, we don't really know why that happens, but otherwise this cutscene, or the battle, won't actually load.
Alright, so here we go. This is Maria. So how do we solve a problem like Maria?
Depends on the turn order.
Exactly. Good turn order, we take her down. Bad turn order, we improvise.
Yep.
It's looking pretty good right now.
Yep, see if I can keep it up here.
Exactly.
I got, this is about the best turn order you can hope for, I would think.
Yep, it is. Yep. You're doing good. Oh,
yep.
Nice. Yep. She's done.
Almost. Yep,
Perfect.
She's
yeah, that
down,
was a great
so
turn
now
order.
I just have to take out the...
So basically for Maria, she's got Valkyries that cast mirrors, which are shields, and she can also cast shields on herself. So you have to get the shields down before you can deal any damage to her. So it becomes really problematic because if you get a bad turn order, it's extremely hard to get the shields down. But Glenn has an ability called Hornet Attack, and actually Sienna does too when you equip the glaive, that does multiple hits, so it can take multiple shields down in one attack. So if you get Glenn early in the sequence, you can take the shields down and then do all of your damage. So you kind of have to very quickly assess, if you think that's going to be feasible or not.
Yep.
And then, of course, there's the just the randomness of Hornet Dance. You can do 1 attack versus 5. If you get 5 in, that will take all the shields down.
That was one of the better Maria fights I've gotten.
Yeah, that was very good. That was a fantastic turn order, and you executed it really well, so good job.
Thanks. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, Maria can be difficult. Choosing my words carefully.
So we're right on to the next Sky Armor boss here. This is clearly inspired by Kulex from Super Mario RPG with
cool
the crystals that you'll see. Thankfully, not nearly as difficult as Kulex, because just does not have a massive HP pool, and Glenn has an axe salvo, so good combination for us. Got do nothing and a physical. Okay, perfect.
Utilizing that enact shot to slow him down, which is really nice. And then basically just ignoring the crystals and just dealing damage straight to the head, as we say.
Yep.
So he did not last. Very cool looking sprite, though.
Mm-hmm. That boss is called the Vein Champion. Or that is, I think technically this weird-looking thing is the Vein Champion. But we got it.
Yeah, is it called Crystal Guardian or Vein Champion?
I think the boss is called Crystal Guardian, and then the thing in the ocean is the Vein Champion.
The weird-looking thing.
The Vein are the evil space things. Those, yeah, right there.
A little bit of flashing lights again we got here. This is an unskippable cutscene, so bear with us.
Yep. We'll try to call them out, but basically whenever you see the vein, they are going to be...
There's going to be flashing.
There's going to be flashing, so... And some of that's on us with our turbo button for the dialogue, but yeah.
We're very hot for the turbo button in this run.
My thumb is appreciative.
Even Cress is paying attention. I'm so proud of him.
Cress is doing a threat assessment.
Yes, Cress is like unsure.
Mm-hmm.
Creepy otherworldly stuff.
That is Killian, by the way. Remember Killian from when Ferric was playing?
Remember Killian from On the Roof?
That's who, yeah.
Same Killian.
Yep.
So what's going to happen now, we're going to skip some stuff, and then we're going to head to Nissa, which is basically the final area.
Yep.
And work our way through there, get all our level ups, and position ourselves so that we can have a good boss fight at the end.
Yeah, we're really kind of in the home stretch here.
It's the boss fight. Final boss fight's going to be a gauntlet, but we do have multiple bosses that we have to fight before we actually get to the end. So,
yep.
So right now we're just kind of cruising through this creepy underground city, and we'll get one more power up for Sienna's Sky Armor for her Ether Cannon, so that she can just be dealing the massive damage that we like.
All right, last big menu for me. Not off to a good start, but that's okay. Pretty important that I get some specific abilities here.
Yep.
But Thraz is going to get an ability called Heaven or Hell. That I think Ferric will have some time to talk about.
Yep. So as we kind of work our way through the menus here, first thing to note is in any speed run, the menuing is not glamorous, but it really is a critical part of the run. Like if you do not menu fast, you're not going to be able to get good times. So you have to learn your menus. You have to know what you're doing. You gotta have the fast fingers and gotta have that D-pad experience with your thumbs to be good at it. So. But Thraz is getting Heaven and Hell, which is one of his highest level abilities. It gives him, it's basically like a pact with the devil. It gives him 2.5x damage for whenever it's up, but he dies after, I believe it's like 2 or 3 turns when he has it active. So that's a critical damage boost for Thraz, so that we're able to do the endgame stuff efficiently. And then for the other characters, just some stat level ups so that we can work our way through to the final bosses without too much trouble.
Be just being very careful here to make sure I do everything
Yep.
I need to.
And this is a co-op run, so Blaze wants to double check stuff kind of that I did, because I may have done things in a different order or gotten certain level ups that maybe he doesn't get. So it's a good opportunity for him to sort of take stock of what's going on.
Yep.
And I'm kind of watching a little bit too. He takes a few different level ups than I do, but that's fine. Mostly we just have to make sure that Thraz has got both his magic up set and his Heaven and Hell ability set and stuff like that. So Sky Armoring through here to another basic combat.
I chose poorly. That's fine. I couldn't remember if I was supposed to attack the one that I'd beat up on a little bit with.
Yeah.
But Thraz or Sienna, and I picked the wrong character, so that's fine.
So now we're going to have to disembark and work our way through the park area and fight some high-level pig ears. We fought pig ears right at the beginning of the game in Roland Fields, and now we've got some really grumpy purple pig ears that have much more difficult abilities than the original pig ears, but to our benefit, they will not get a chance to use those on us. Still got the pom-poms, though. So let's get in that filthy water.
We have to.
Gross. Take a shower after this.
Just waiting on Rob now.
Nicely done. So we'll make our way through the park. There is going to be another kind of flashing light cutscene.
Yep.
Got a little glimpse of the creepy space gods or whatever they are. Pop back into the city and we'll board our Sky Armor for some quick transit to the next area.
There's a little bit of tech coming up here, Ferric, if you want a quick talk about that I'm kind of proud of.
So the tech is, we're going to grab that ring, or key. It's a key, right?
Yep.
But there's all this dialogue going on, and dialogue's just going to slow us down. So now that we have the key, we just enter the house, and all the dialogue's gone. We don't have to wait through it. So very efficient way of speeding up the game.
And we can only do that if we get out of the Sky Armor.
Yep, exactly.
Oh.
Otherwise, it just runs.
Yep. And the game will not let you disembark from the Sky Arbor if there is a...
No, you're just stuck listening to random dialogue.
There we go.
Yay, more plot armor. Everybody's favorite armor, plot armor.
It's a good armor.
Plot armor.
It's a solid armor.
It's a good, solid plot armor. So we're kind of just working our way through this warehouse district, and we're off to fight some familiar faces. I wonder who they'll be. Well, I know. Hey, it's those guys from the Thieves Guild, so they're back.
We got a very bad turn order here for some reason.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll probably have to do this in a couple extra cycles, but it's fine. The only kind of problem I guess we have at this point is the only AoE Ultra that we have is Glenn, and it's just not worth it in a lot of situations, so... If he doesn't go first, I should say.
Yeah, he needs to go before Rob.
Yep.
If he doesn't go before Rob, it's kind of not worth it.
Oh, almost there.
But yeah, it's pretty rare that he doesn't go before Rob.
Right, this will do it.
Because you can always just Profondo with Victor instead of Poetic March and not sub Aegelin.
Yep. Get some money.
Alright, so the Thieves Guild has been officially vanquished. We're going to backtrack a little bit, make our way back through the house, and then kind of head into the underbelly of this city to make our way through to the final boss. We've got a couple smaller bosses before that, and a fun boss skip.
It's a glitchless run with a boss skip. Yes, you heard that right.
Yep, exactly. The Wyatt skip.
Also, hi, Big Dragon.
Growl.
He's sleeping, it's fine. Ferric was the one who figured out how to consistently do the boss skip. Well, we're not quite there yet, but
it feels good to skip it.
Yeah, I'm very excited for you.
So we've got another boss coming up here called, in wonderful German fashion, the Wiederganger. I don't know how to translate that. I don't know German, but hopefully he will be taken down quickly by our team here.
So Bathra's actually got an extra turn here, which is really nice for me. Depending on the flow of this fight, so... Got all the debuffs on. I'm going to put Heaven or Hell on Bathra's, and we'll see if I end up needing it here.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's what I would do, yeah. Because then the fight's just over, you know?
Yep. He kind of gets some extra turns here because of the way the boss's script works, but it's not really going to matter. Let's go ahead and finish him off here. I probably could have just finished him
like 700,
with
right?
Yeah.
600, okay.
Yeah.
Still
so, Go ahead.
No, I was just saying 600 is still plenty. I thought it was going to be around 700.
So the way Bathraz's Ultra works is it's 10 hits, and the damage value for each hit is exactly the same. So if you ever want to know how much damage he's doing in an Ultra, just put a 0 on the end of whatever number you see.
We know math is hard, but most of us can do add a 0 to the end. That makes it a lot easier. So we're going to exit here and head into a house, and this is another build your own boss. We're going to talk to some spirits. And once we've talked to the spirits, we talk to 4 of them, and depending on what your choices are for what the spirits say, that will determine the boss's final abilities. So we just sort of just pick the first one, and that just kind of makes the boss like really tough and angry. So we just we let him kind of beat us down a little bit, but then we just deal a lot of damage and take him out.
Good enough. It's good enough.
It's good enough.
We used to pick that he was more status effect attacking type as opposed to physical. And then I had a really bad experience where I think he paralyzed Rob for forever.
And that's not acceptable.
Yeah, that was enough to make me just be like, okay, I think we can do this better. I do want to check one thing really quick before we go into this fight. I do not have the SP for that. Okay.
Everything look okay?
I was hoping I could get Draw Iron to level 3, but alas. Because this boss also likes to take extra turns. I think I'm going to be okay. Rob barely outsped him here, so nothing's going to fall off. And he got a crit. Wow, that was a one-shot.
Big crit. Oh my gosh, 13,000. Okay, that works.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Rob.
the boss basically has like 13,000 hit points, so that did the trick.
Yep. All right, and now all that should be in front of us is the final boss gauntlet. So.
Well, now we don't forget to get the gold key, because I would never forget to get the gold key.
Nope. That never happened to you on a run where you were on PvPs.
I've never teleported without the gold key before, exactly.
Yep.
So now we are back in Nissa. We teleported back. We're going to sneak around some of these monsters here and make our way through a series of gates. I would say we probably have about maybe 10 to 15 minutes left in the run.
Yep. All right, so I have to get the Wyatt skip here. So there's not a cutscene technically when you flip that switch, but if you hold the cutscene button down, for some reason the game pulls on a weird random line of dialogue related to the memory boss that I just fought and lets you fly through the...
And then you just don't have to fight Wyatt, which is really nice. I mean, Wyatt's not particularly difficult, but it's still 45 seconds, and that's a lot in a speedrun.
Yep. So we are now off to the final boss rush. Let's have one more menu before we get there.
Yep, there's a lot of door opening and a lot of running through gates and running around like stuff that's been ancient and destroyed.
It's building the tension.
A lot of stuff that's in this area is designed if you want to do end game stuff. You can talk to different people and find different things to go explore a lot of the end game. So what's happening right now is Blaze is setting his sort of final party equipment and stats, because once we start the boss gauntlet, it is 3 straight fights that we cannot exit out of. One of them is a sky armor fight, and 2 of them are on foot.
That's right. Whoops. Skills. Just going to be extra careful here because this is a marathon run and I do not want to forget anything.
Yeah, just take your time. This is not... We're doing quite good on time.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we've both been playing quite well. Yes, we have another chatter that loves the phrase plot armor. That is a very popular one.
Yep. Let's see here. So I can do HP up and attack up. I need to set that SOS magic up. And I do have 1 magic up that is level 3, so that should be good enough.
2 and 3 is good.
Okay. Rob. Don't have a lot here, so I'll just level up one of his attack ups. And Poetic March is maxed. Everything else is at least level 2. Yeah, I don't see anything here that I need. And then I'm just going to double check. Len has all 3 coats.
Yep.
So
Just make sure you
I
have
think
your
we're
coats. Coats and good to go. So,
Totes got the coats.
all right, here we go. Let's head off and fight boss 1 of 3, affectionately known as the Labrador, because I don't know how to say his first name. So it's
Yes,
called
if you know how to pronounce this boss's
just
name,
call him the
please
Labrador.
let us know. We
Yep.
don't know. It looks like Labrador Retriever.
I don't know what it is. It's Labrador something, but he's got wings and like one arm, and there's a whole lot going on there. But
And he's also vulnerable to an axe shot like everything else.
yep, so we love to hit him with an axe shot right in the 6-pack. Just take that an axe shot.
He's also, I believe, the only Sky Armor boss that we fight in the entire run that is weak to fire, which is
that is strange.
That Thraz can do. So he did heal.
So this particular boss has an ultimate attack that basically kills your entire party. So you have to kind of finish him off before that. And because of the damage that we deal with Sienna, usually it's a pretty comfortable finish without having to worry about that. But you do have to execute everything correctly in order to have that happen.
Yeah, there's a very specific ability that he can occasionally do that can really mess up your plans. So, actually have to... Yeah, he's still on 2 more turns.
So right now we're kind of just tracking how many turns until his ultimate, and so he's dead, so we don't have to worry about it. But yeah, you need to track the turns till his ultimate, because in case it's going to go off, you have to basically blind him so that he doesn't hit your guys.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's a wipe. Hey,
Yep.
Who's that shirtless guy? I think I recognize him. So the next boss, what does it remind you of? Any RPG bosses, Blaze?
Final Fantasy VI again.
There you go. A lot of throwbacks to 6 here.
And some FF5, I think, thrown in for good measure. So.
That's fair. It's the poop guy.
It's kind of like 4 parts grafted onto just some sort of arbitrary body. So,
yeah, exactly. Some sort of
very,
like amorphous thing.
Is very Kefka. Kefka's earlier forms.
Yep. Yep, I like it. So we'll let you focus here. So this is it's basically 4 monsters on one body, like you said, and it's going to be pretty similar to the strats that we used before for fighting basic monsters, just a little bit longer.
Yeah, there's one thing I'm kind of scared about, so I have to sort of watch what abilities they do, but if other than that, it's a pretty straightforward fight. Yep.
So they can do it. They can do a bad ability, and we shall not speak of it unless it happens.
No, let us not will it into existence.
Let's not jinx it. But everything's going nicely so far.
Yep, so far so good. That's fine. Okay.
Okay, very nice. So that boss is done, and we're going to cutscene skip right into the final guy, whose name is Vane.
This is a fight.
Blaze is going to set this up so that if everything works out nicely, we will actually one-shot the final boss. How awesome is that? So it takes a lot of very specific sequencing, so I'm going to let him focus.
Yeah, this boss is just such a really neat, interesting boss fight, and I need to be really thoughtful here about who I heal. Basically, just not Glenn. Actually, will be fine. This is what he needed those meals for, by the way.
Looks good.
All right. So we're gonna start loading up Thraz with abilities and buffs, and we're going to eventually also get some debuffs on Vane itself. So, Ferric, if you can kind of talk about what is going on here.
Yep, I just didn't want to distract you. So basically the way this game works is he's got kind of a scripted ability right at the beginning that takes everybody down to 1 hit point. Once everybody's up and running, we're going to use Lenny to put elemental coats on everybody's weapons. She's got 3 different coats, so those are all elemental abilities. we're going to set a bunch of elemental debuffs onto Vayne. Bethraz has Berserker, which is a damage ability, and he's got Heaven and Hell, which is a damage ability, which stack. So when you put all of that together with all of the debuffs, you pull out his big gun, you shoot him, and you call it a day.
Unfortunately, he did his buffing ability.
They might be his gods.
Yep.
So, I mean, if he does that, it's not the end of the world, but you have to do a very careful sort of reset. They might be his gods as like, well, he's kind of a god. He does this ability that like gives him buffs on everything. It's one of those random things that he can kind of do that's just a little bit of a spoiler, but you just kind of have to work with it.
I'm trying to reset and recover here. Let's see. So he's got dry. Let's do oil again. And let's do wet. I might be able to do it next turn. Fire, water, wind. Offensive buff. And then he's got all three. I'm just going to use water again just to be safe. Okay, he didn't do any buffs, so I think I'm good.
So you've got
Off.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then triangle him.
Yep.
I mean, it should be okay. Usually I have 7, but I use heroic code, but it should be okay.
Got him.
All right, good job.
Time is coming up, and
that's time.
time.
Yep.
Yep. Want to go hit my split that's not there.
Oh gosh, the time's still running.
Time. It's because of the delay.
It's okay.
Yep. And we didn't give a
There
super
we go.
good call.
So 3:30 was our time. That's pretty awesome for co-op.
For a marathon doing this co-op.
And for us, like, not tripping
is...
over wires and stuff, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nope.
No, great run. A big thank you to everybody that's been watching in chat. Chained Echoes is an awesome game to play casually. There's a great speedrun community for it. Lots of guides and things like that if you're interested in it. This was a co-op run. I'm Ferric Fox. If you want to follow me on Twitch, and if you like this kind of stuff, Ferric_Fox. My co-runner was moonblazewolf.
Yep. Twitch.tv/moonblazewolf for me. And I also help organize speedrun marathons for the Fastest Furs speedrun community, twitch.tv/Fastest Furs. So I know the marathon is pretty behind schedule. I'm really glad that we finished nice and under estimate like we were hoping. And I'm sure there's a lot of runs that y'all want to see. So we won't keep you. Thank you again very much for having us. It was an honor to be able to show off Chained Echoes again. On the RPG Limit Break channel.
Yep,
and
big
nice
shout out.
job, Ferric.
Yep.
This was our
absolutely a lot of fun. Big shout out to the Questing for Glory community, and thank you so much for RPG Limit Break for hosting this event. A lot of these games are very special to us. We spend a lot of time working on them, and it's great to have a venue to showcase them to an audience. So thank you so much for that.
Have a good night.